305 days. It's about as long an off-season as you are going to find in all of sports, and tonight it is finally over. The Cape Cod Baseball League is getting back underway for the 30th season of Brewster Whitecaps baseball as the Whitecaps begin their journey tonight at gorgeous Eldridge Park against the Orleans Firebirds in game number 1 of the Cape Cod League season. Carter Woodeel here alongside Aiden Doyle. We thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. This is where we'll be for pretty much every game over the rest of the season, so if you want to bookmark the page, you know right where to go. This is your home for Brewster Whitecaps baseball throughout this season as the Whitecaps are getting set to take on the Firebirds tonight. And I'm sure if not just for the fans in the stands, but for the players on the field, the umpires, the scorers, the PA announcers, and us here in the booth, Aiden, it's got to feel great to have Cape Cod baseball back.
You know, I was talking to a gentleman at my job earlier today, and he was talking about not only the Cape League season in general, but just the summer coming back, summer on Cape Cod. There really isn't anything better. Hope springs eternal is what he said, and honestly, it's the perfect way to describe it. These people here on Cape Cod, whether they be summer residents, full-time residents of the Cape, even people just on vacation, they love their baseball. They love coming down to the Cape, whether it be the Eastern Division, Western Division, Wareham, Orleans, Chatham, Hyannis, no matter where it is, people love coming to these games. They're free, and they're going to see some of the best talent, amateur talent in the country.
Whitecaps head coach Jamie Shevchik is over to get the lineup cards over there with our umpiring crew. And for more on how he's approaching this team, let's go to our third member of our crew. Mara Sheridan is standing by. Mara?
Well, guys, last year was a bit of a disappointing season for the Whitecaps. They finished 16-26, last place in the division, missed the playoffs. So when I talked to Coach Shev earlier today, he said the Whitecaps recruiting style has changed completely. They are staying away from draft-eligible players, and they are staying away from high-profile pitchers that threw a lot of innings in college. They kind of wanted to find hidden gems, and he just said that the main goal is to make sure players are staying the entire season. He wants his team to gel, and he wants his team to go far this year. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Mara. And a lot of turnover in the rosters is typical with Cape League teams, especially early in the year as we are right now. Probably the roster that we see in this game will look very different even just a week or two from now on the schedule. But for now, let's get you set on who the Brewster Whitecaps will be trotting out for tonight's game. Connor Smith will be leading off and playing third base. Anthony Prado is hitting in the 2-hole and playing second. Mickey Gasper is at first base. The switch hitter is hitting third. Michael Curry will be the designated hitter tonight. He is hitting in the cleanup spot. Cesar Trejo is out in left field and batting fifth. Chandler Taylor is in right field batting in the sixth position. Justin Coons will be behind the plate catching for Brewster. He is hitting seventh. Devin Foyle will bat eighth and play center field. Another switch hitter in this Whitecaps lineup. And A.J. Graffinino will round out the Brewster order and play shortstop. If you're the Orleans manager or a fan or anybody looking at this lineup, what stands out to you, Aiden?
Well, to me, at this field here at Eldridge Park, left field is quite short, to put it very simply. Center field, not so much, 434 out there, but just 300 feet to left field. And that is a right-handed power hitter's dream. And if there is one right-handed power hitter in this lineup, it is the cleanup man, Michael Curry, designated hitter out of the University of Georgia. Just finished his sophomore year down in Athens. Led the team with 10 home runs, but he also led the team with 11 home runs as a freshman. So if there's a guy on this roster who possesses the power to not only hit one but multiple home runs tonight, it's Michael Curry.
That's one of the qualities that often comes to form when you look at the Cape League rosters. It's guys who are thrown into the fray and were able to step up as young guys on their teams, people that are willing to shoulder the load as freshmen. Michael Curry definitely one of those folks for the Brewster Whitecaps. The opposing pitcher that they're going to face, it's Kevin Smith, the crafty lefty out of the University of Georgia. You notice there's a lot of righties and switch hitters. The only true lefty hitter in the lineup for the Whitecaps tonight is Taylor. He can be a tricky guy to face, Kevin Smith.
Yeah, he's struggled a bit this year in Georgia. In 20 appearances, 12 of them starts, 4.87 ERA, just went 5-5. And the thing that really stood out to me was kind of a lack of control. 1.60 whip, 31 walks in the 61 innings pitch. So if you're looking at this Whitecaps lineup, one thing to be mindful of is the patience, the eye at the plate. This is the first time for a lot of them they're going to see this guy, certainly obviously here on the Cape. So got to work the count, see what he has. If he's lacking control, if he's a little nervous out there on the mound in his first Cape League start, get base runners. You don't have to win the game with one swing.
And that's something that I think can apply to the league as a whole, right? I mean, the pitching styles that you're going to see on the Cape, where we've got the best of the best players on the diamond, they're so different. It's going to take some adjusting for a lot of these players in the lineup, correct?
Yeah, this is a lot of people call this a pitcher's league when it first starts, is because a lot of these guys, again, like I mentioned, haven't seen these guys before. Some of them have, some of them play in the same conferences or even the same teams, but these are players coming from all over the country, here to Cape Cod, and for at least the first couple weeks, offenses typically have a little bit of a slow start. Brewster last year was one of the rarities. They got off to a great offensive start and lacked the pitching to really finish the season well. They ended the year on a 5-game losing streak, but if there's one thing to keep in mind, is that pitching typically early in the season in the Cape League comes out on top.
A lot of high-scoring games at Stony Brook Field last year. The Whitecaps leading the league in both runs scored and runs allowed for the season. I want to get you set now on the lineup for the home team, the Orleans Firebirds, coming off a 20-23-1 season last year where they finished third in the East Division in the regular season. Lars Newtbar will be leading off. He'll be patrolling center field. Romy Gonzalez is the DH hitting in the 2-hole. Brandon Riley, the right fielder, will hit in the 3 spot. Kevin Schroeshine will play in left field and bat cleanup. Steve Passatempo is at first base. He is batting in the 5 spot. Cole Austin is at third, hitting 6th. Preston Grand Prix will be playing second base and hitting in the 7-hole. Cooper Johnson will be behind the plate hitting 8th, and the shortstop, just like with Brewster, will round out the lineup. It's Jeff Hopi who will be finishing out the Orleans order. What stands out to you here? What should the Whitecaps be keeping in mind? This is an offense that is hungry to go out and get a win to start off their home season.
Well, other than some of the just great last names on this team, I mean, Newtbar, Grand Prix, Stroshine, they've got them all up and down this lineup. For me, the guy who I look at really has the simplest name in the lineup, Brandon Riley, right fielder out of the University of North Carolina. Tar Heels have a great history with their baseball program, and Brandon Riley is a guy who's going to look to continue that tradition of excellence down in Chapel Hill. He's got a great eye at the plate, led the team with 34 walks and 52 RBI, 317 average, 7 home runs, and against a guy like Connor Higgins, who doesn't typically start for Arizona State, just one start in his career, and has had some control issues in the past, that's a guy to keep your eye on. Yes, it's a lefty-lefty matchup, but Brandon Riley has shown that he can hit both lefties and righties down in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, North Carolina, such a disappointing end to their season, getting upset by Davidson in their home regional in Chapel Hill. They'll be coming out hungry to try and get some wins here on the Cape. It's time for the national anthem. We're going to step aside real quick here from Eldridge Park. When we come back, it's baseball from Orleans. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to Eldridge Park on an evening that just could not be more perfect for some evening baseball right now. The sun setting over the stands out in right field. It's a gorgeous ballpark. The weather is right around, I would say, just the perfect temperature. And with the sun shining, we're just about ready to get started for some baseball here. Carter Woodeel and Aiden Doyle. Mara Sheridan, the third member of our crew, will be joining in later on. We'll be trying to get you introduced, get you acquainted with a lot of these new players because of all the turnover in the Cape League rosters. There are plenty of new faces to tell you about. And the first one is Connor Smith, who is digging in from the right side to begin the game for Brewster up against Kevin Smith, the hurler for Georgia. So an all-Smith matchup, and the first pitch is swung on and fouled back to the screen. So the count is 0-1 on Connor Smith. Kevin Smith, the hurler for Georgia, has a kind of unusual delivery. He pitches out of a low three-quarter arm slot, bit of a side armor, and it's real tough if you're a lefty batter. Here's the pitch. That's in there for a strike at the knees.
If there's one guy, though, who can handle the different arm slots, the unique delivery of Kevin Smith, it is Connor Smith. Batted .339 this year for Western Michigan and was second team All-MAC Conference.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, swung and fouled back. Just got a piece of that. As far as the arsenal that Kevin Smith is going to throw at you, it's he's got a fastball that'll be in the high 80s, might touch 90 if he reaches back, and a breaking ball that'll hang around 80. And the key, as Aiden, you were saying in our pregame show, is whether he can throw strikes, especially with that breaking pitch, which he can drop into the zone if it's working, but has had troubles with it in this year. Pitch is fouled back as Connor Smith is taking his hacks. The sophomore, the rising junior, the shortstop out of Western Michigan, calls Midland, Michigan home out of Midland Dow High School. Waiting on the 0-2 as a couple of shakeoffs from Kevin Smith on the mound. Lefty staring in, getting the sign from Johnson behind the plate. And the pitch, it's in the dirt low. That was an off-speed pitch and didn't look like Connor Smith had to do much to lay that one off.
And I really like this at-bat so far from Smith, fouling off a lot of pitches. Personally, just me as a baseball fan, love when guys see a lot of pitches, work the count.
Pitch is swung on, hit hard on the ground. It's fouled away. That one looked like it might have knocked off of a chest protector of the catcher Johnson there. And it's waved dead. So, like you said, we're still dealing with the battle here. It's 1-2, the count still.
I would say perfect timing there because Smith fouling one off, staying alive, really working the count. Anything close, choke up on the bat a little bit. Just make sure you put it in play. I know it's more of the trend now in 2017, the less of a stigma against strikeouts as a batter, but still, I love guys who consistently put it in play.
1-2 on the way. It's hit high in the air toward the right side, foul territory, and running out of room is the first baseman, Passatempo. So we will stay at 1-2. Connor Smith this season hit .339 for Western Michigan, as you were mentioning, and does have a bit of speed to him, 8 out of 10 on the base paths if he is able to win this battle and get on. Count is 1-2. We are scoreless here, top of the first game of the year at Eldridge Park in Orleans. The pitch, that's a fastball low. The count is now even 2-2. As Connor Smith is working Kevin Smith early. Kevin Smith, a rising junior out of Dunwoody, Georgia. Pitch is swung on and missed on the breaking ball. And now the battle is won by Kevin Smith as he's able to get that breaking ball down and in near the knees of the right-hander. And Connor Smith with a couple of words to the next Whitecap hitter, Anthony Prado, as he stands in, and there's one gone.
Well, just a really sharp breaking ball there by Kevin Smith, down and in towards the ankles of Connor Smith. It's really getting confusing with both of these Smiths here to start things off, but just really sharp, fell out of the zone. Great pitch.
Pitch to Prado is swung and hit hard on the ground to second. Grand Prix will field it and flip over to Passatempo. So after a lengthy battle in the first hitter of the game, it's a one-pitch at-bat for Prado, and he's retired 4-3.
You took the words right out of my mouth there, Connor. As I say, complete opposite ends of the spectrum. A really long at-bat for Connor Smith. Fouled off 5 pitches, I believe, worked it, and then obviously struck out swinging. And then Prado really aggressive up there at the plate. First pitch swinging, 2 away.
So now it's time for the Whitecap 3-hitter, Mickey Gasper, out of Bryant University. He's a switch hitter batting right. The pitch is low on an off-speed pitch, and the count is 1-0. That's going to be something that's worth tracking all night long, is where Kevin Smith is locating that breaking ball, whether he's able to either drop it in for strikes or get some swings and misses, as he did in that first batter of the game, Connor Smith. The lefty deals. That is in there for a strike on the inside corner at the knees. The count is 1-1. Gasper, a rising senior out of Merrimack, New Hampshire, hit .342 this season. The pitch, that's down and in. And the count is 2-1.
Gasper is a really interesting player on this Whitecaps team because you think versatility. Gasper's got it. Listed as a catcher, playing first base today, but then also a switch hitter, so can match up against lefties and righties, and he hasn't really shown a drop-off from either side of the plate.
Here comes the 2-1 pitch. It's swung hit high in the air behind the plate. Johnson tosses the mask away, heading toward the first base side dugout, and he makes the grab for a 1-2-3 top of the first inning. So the Whitecaps go down in order in the top of the first. At the end of a half, it's the Whitecaps nothing and the Orleans Firebirds coming to bat. You are listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Eldridge Park. Carter Wedeel and Aiden Doyle here with you, getting ready to start the bottom of inning number 1. We are scoreless here as Connor Higgins has just finished his warm-up pitches. Whitecaps wearing their brand new teal uniforms for this game with Brewster written across the front in white, and the Firebirds are sporting their white vest jerseys with the script Firebirds written across the front. And the first pitch is swung hit high and foul toward the left side by the leadoff hitter Lars Newtbar to start things off for the Firebirds, and so he is in the hole 0-1 to start things. Connor Higgins is the starter for the Whitecaps. Another lefty, a lefty-on-lefty pitching matchup for this game. Higgins, a rising junior from Warfield, Pennsylvania, out of Arizona State. The pitch is a fastball up, and the count is even 1-1 on Newtbar. Higgins is one of those guys, when he delivers the ball, it looks like he's playing cricket out there. He's got a very straight up and down delivery when it comes out of his hand. Here comes the 1-1. Swan hit high in the air out to left center field. Ranging to his left is the left fielder Trejo, and he gets under it to make the play. And there's out number 1 in the bottom of the first.
Higgins is a really interesting guy on this Whitecaps roster this year. Originally from Orfield, Pennsylvania, decided to take his talents, if I say so, to Arizona State University in Phoenix, or actually in Tempe, depending on which campus you're going to. This year, in a 23-32 Sun Devils team.
Pitch to Romy Gonzalez is a strike.
19 appearances, 18 of them in relief, 3.92 ERA, and had 4 saves for the Sun Devils.
Pitch to Gonzalez is in there, and it's called strike 2 on the inside corner. Another off-speed pitch to that one, so the count is 0-2 on Gonzalez. Yeah, Higgins had a rough start to this season, but really settled in after that for the Sun Devils out of the Pac-12, and the pitch is swung and fouled back to the screen. This one of 5 opening day games around the Cape Cod League. This is the last one in terms of start time. They like to start things a little bit later here at Eldridge Park. 7 o'clock first pitch. The pitch is up, fastball up high as the catcher Coons had to jump up to grab that one, get to his feet. Count is 1-2 as that one just looked like it slipped out of his hand a bit. Higgins working quickly. The pitch is fouled back to the screen, and we remain at 1-2. So you were talking about nerves in the Cape League starts, Aiden, but it seems like Higgins is just out there firing, not taking any time to think about it.
I say working quickly. I like it. I like the pace.
1-2 pitch is up high. Another fastball that just didn't quite locate, missed the target. Looked like they were looking for that down, and Coons kind of gives a motion saying, it's all right. Let's take a breath. And here comes the 2-2 pitch to the righty. Swing and a miss, he got him. So a very quick strikeout there for Connor Higgins. We have yet to see a base runner in this game, and there are 2 gone in the bottom of the first inning of a scoreless affair.
Well, just a great location there by Higgins. Fastball on the inside part of the plate to get Gonzalez. And obviously, I don't think the high fastballs were intentional, but changing the eye level, changing where the hitter's looking is really beneficial, really, for any pitcher. And he did a great job of it there, getting the strikeout.
Here's the lefty, Brandon Riley, and he takes an off-speed pitch in there for a strike. That one was grooved right in there from Higgins. Riley, hailing from the University of North Carolina, standing in from the left side. Here comes the 0-1. Another off-speed pitch. That one just missed on the inside part of the plate. The count is 1-1. Riley, a rising junior out of Burlington, North Carolina, hit .317 in 63 games for the Tar Heels this season. The pitch is swung, hit high but foul, left side. That one's going to get over to the street. And this is one of those ballparks where if you're driving past it, you want to make sure that the insurance policy on your car is up to date and comprehensive, because there are some baseballs that the cars will be dodging out there.
I'd say there are plenty of broken windshields here at Eldridge Park.
1-2 pitch is hit high in the air, and that one again is heading toward the left side foul. So we'll stay at 1-2.
And growing up, the thing I always notice is there are houses across that street that countless foul balls go into. I mean, does this guy or whoever lives there just collect them all in his yard, just have this basement full of baseballs?
1-2 pitch. That one just missed up. Again, that one they were looking for it down, but it ran up on him. And kind of a nod there from Higgins as he gets the ball back, saying, yep, I'll try and get that down next time. So the count is even now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the first inning, no score. Higgins shakes off a sign from Coons and deals. It's up high again. The count is 3-2. Riley trying to work on his patience this season. That was one thing that he was looking on in the middle of the season last year with UNC. 3-2 pitches hit high in the air. Again, it's the left side, and again, it's foul into the street, so we'll do it again. Count is 3-2.
And work on his patience he did. Again, .406 on base percentage for the Tar Heels this year. Led the team with 34 walks, and he's got some speed as well. 10 stolen bases in 14 tries.
3-2 pitch. That's low ball 4. Some off-speed stuff. Finally got it down, but it was taken there by Riley, so we have our first base runner of tonight's game as Riley draws a walk. And that'll bring up Kevin Stroshine, the right-hander, with a runner on first base and 2 out.
Just a really good at-bat there by Brandon Riley, working the count, laying off that low fastball there to take the walk. I mean, that was a pretty close pitch, just below the knees, though, and a good eye from Riley to get the first base runner of the game.
The pitch to the righty, Stroshine, is hit hard on the ground through the right side. It's fielded there by Prato, and he boots it, and it heads into right field. And charging into third base and getting there safely is Riley. So an inauspicious beginning there for the Whitecaps second baseman Prado, as it was a tough play, had to move to his left on that slow dribbler, but could not come up with the baseball. So we've got first and third now with 2 away on what will presumably be an E4.
Not the easiest play there by play to try and make there by Prado. Going to his left, tried to, instead of just reaching it for a one hand, get in front of it, which I like. I like the effort there. But then you had the runner Riley getting in front of him. Not easy, moving his feet a lot. Difficult play.
The pitch is down and in to Steve Passatempo, the Firebird first baseman who digs in now. Passatempo, a right-handed hitter. First and third with 2 outs. There's no score here in the bottom of the first inning on opening night here on the Cape. We're in Orleans, Whitecaps and Firebirds. The pitch is swung on a high chopper to second base. It's fielded there by Prado. He handles this one cleanly and throws across for the out. So the Whitecaps get out of a little mini jam in the bottom of the first inning. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. We are through 1 full inning of play here in Orleans. No score. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Back at Eldridge Park here, as we're getting ready to start the second inning here. No score between Orleans and Brewster on opening night in the Cape Cod League. The Whitecaps went down in order in the first inning, so they will start things off with the cleanup hitter, Michael Curry. He's a catcher by trade, but he's in the DH spot for the Whitecaps tonight. Out of the University of Georgia, another right-handed hitter, as the Whitecaps full of righties in their lineup against the tough-to-hit lefty Smith out of Georgia. The first pitch is a called strike on the inside corner, as a bit of shatter between the home plate ump and Michael Curry there as he kind of checks in and says, okay, is that kind of a lot of feeling out with these Cape Cod League umpires to try and gauge what the strike zone is going to look like early in a game. 0-1 pitch on the way from the lefty. Side armor is to the backstop, as that one got past Johnson on a harder pitch. The count is 1-1 on Curry. Curry, a rising junior out of Gainesville, Georgia, hit .297 with a team-leading 10 home runs for the Bulldogs this past season. The 1-1 pitch is swung on and fouled back, and the count is 1-2.
And when looking at Curry, you'd think for a guy who perfect game called, an outstanding defensive catcher with good hitting tools, two-time SEC Freshman of the Week, he's got to be, the best player or best athlete in high school. No. Deshaun Watson, former Clemson quarterback and now Houston Texans quarterback.
1-2 pitch is low on a breaking ball. That's got to be tough, right? You got the guy who's freshman All-SEC last season.
I mean, it's just a lose-lose situation for Curry. I mean, you're an outstanding athlete, unbelievable baseball player, and there's Deshaun Watson.
Curry, part of a sizable Bulldog contingent on this Whitecaps team. 2-2 on the way. It's swung on and hit on the ground to second base. Fielded there by Grand Prix, and he throws across for the out. And Curry is sent down 4-3. Still no base runners allowed by Kevin Smith so far in this game. That'll bring up Cesar Trejo, one of the later additions to this Whitecaps roster in the lead up to this season out of UNC Greensboro. Rising junior from Greensboro at his hometown school in North Carolina. Again, he is a right-handed hitter. We're in the top of the second inning. No score. Pitch to the righty. That's in there for a strike, Ebenezer. It's looking like we're going to see low strikes get called pretty frequently in this game tonight, as that one needed to be framed by the catcher Johnson. And the count is 0-1. Trejo hit .280 with 12 homers and 56 runs batted in this past season for UNCG. He fouls the next pitch off over to the right side, getting over by the hill, where plenty of fans here at Eldridge Park made sure to place their chairs, their blankets, whatever cushioning or padding they had very early today. I know there were folks coming out at 7:30 this morning to try and get the perfect seat for opening night.
It's really a rite of passage here on the Cape, placing your first lawn chair or blanket.
0-2 pitch hit hard on the ground to short, fielded there by Hopeby. He comes up with it and throws to first base in time to beat a hustling Trejo, and that will retire Trejo. So we are 5 outs in terms of Kevin Smith's day. He's gotten 3 ground balls. 2 outs in the top of the second inning of a scoreless game.
What's one thing that really stands out to me about this Whitecaps lineup is just the amount of power this team has, whether it be Michael Curry, Cesar Trejo, as you mentioned, 12 home runs this year, led UNC Greensboro. Chandler Taylor, another guy, Crimson Tide of Alabama, huge power from the left side.
He steps in now, and the pitch is a breaking ball dropped in there for a strike from Kevin Smith. Taylor, as we mentioned, is the one true lefty in this Whitecaps lineup tonight, and it's tough to face Kevin Smith again when you're a left-handed hitter. It's just tough to see the ball with that sidearm motion. The pitch is in there for a strike at Venise, and the count moves to 0-2. Quickly in an 0-2 hole now is the rising junior from Montgomery, Alabama. Taylor, as you mentioned, with plenty of power for the Crimson Tide this past year. 0-2 pitch bounces in the dirt. And the count is 1-2, perhaps a look of frustration there on the face of Smith. Was trying to see if he could get a pitch that Chandler Taylor could chase, but that one started out of the zone and stayed out.
And as big and powerful as he is, that's not just the only aspect of his game. Led the Crimson Tide at home runs, RBI, runs, total bases, stolen bases, and slugging percentage.
Oh, just those?
Just those.
1-2 the count. The pitch is swung and hit hard on the short. It's a one-hopper fielded there by the shortstop, Hopeby. He throws to first base in time. And that retires the side. So 6 up, 6 down to begin the game for Kevin Smith and the Orleans Firebirds. We are through an inning and a half. No score here at Eldridge Park. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to opening. Cooper Johnson, those of the 6, 7, 8 hitters. The pitch is a fastball in there for a strike. Nice one with a lot of pop there in the mid of Coons. That one from Connor Higgins. The Arizona State lefty at 6'5" and 240. And he's working quickly. The 0-1 pitch is up and in. A little chin music there, but unfazed there was Cole Austin. And the count is even now, 1 ball, 1 strike. And here comes the 1-1. It's swung and grounded foul, third base side over toward the Whitecap dugout. So quickly it's 1-2.
You mentioned how fast Higgins works, and that's one thing you notice with a lot of relievers. They don't really have to pace themselves. I know he's getting the start tonight, but he is typically a reliever.
1-2 pitch is high. And Connor Higgins, yeah, you're right. It seems like he's pitching like he left the stove on at home so far. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. That was a fastball up, and as soon as Austin started that swing, he knew that it wasn't a pitch he was going to hit. Bit of a grimace on his face as he heads back to the dugout. It's strikeout number 2 on the game for Connor Higgins, and there's 1 gone on the bottom of inning number 2.
Really climbed the ladder there to get Austin a nice fastball high in the zone. For hitters, it always looks better than it actually is. Always looks like an easier pitch to hit.
So here's Preston Grand Prix. He begins his at-bat by taking a fastball for a ball. The count is 1-0. 1-0 pitch. That's in there for a strike. Just seems like fastball, some changes, a couple of breaking balls, and a steady diet of fast stuff from Higgins on the mound. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It's low, and the count is 2-1. Eldridge Park, one of the more beautiful venues in all of the Cape League as the 2-1 comes in. It's high. Count is 3-1. And it, like a lot of the other fields in the league, has been getting some new resurfacing. That was a point of emphasis for the Cape League president and the league front office as the 3-2 comes, 3-1 is in, is in there for a strike, and the count is now full on Grand Prix. As this over $100,000 was invested in resurfacing the fields for this season. 3-2 pitch is a soft dribbler to first base, fielded there by Gasper. He'll step on the bag himself, and there are 2 gone. No score here, bottom 2.
You mentioned the resurfacing. There is a difference between a lot of these Cape League ballparks, certain nuances, idiosyncrasies that people who don't come to every game or haven't seen every ballpark might not notice. Wareham, Spillane Field, just off the Cape, where the Gatemen play, actually has a gravel infield. So that's one thing to keep your eye on when we get out there.
The first pitch is low to Cooper Johnson, the catcher out of Ole Miss, who's hitting 8th in the Firebird lineup tonight. An all-star game will be over in Wareham this year. 1-0 pitch is fouled back to the screen. Johnson, a rising sophomore this past season, low for in terms of average, 213, with a 301 on base percentage. 1-1 pitch is swung on and fouled back. But he's a good defensive catcher and has plenty of pedigree. Was on the under-18 U.S. World Cup team that wound up going to Japan and winning in front of 15,000 fans at Koshien Stadium in Osaka. 1-2 pitch is hit hard to left field. That one is going to drop in for a base hit. Heading into first base with the first hit of tonight's game is Cooper Johnson. It's a runner on first base with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 2nd inning for the Orleans Firebirds.
Just a good piece of hitting there from Johnson. Got a low fastball from Higgins. Drove it out towards left field. Trejo playing a bit deep out in left field, and it just fell right in front of him. And now the first hit of the game, like you mentioned.
So far, it's been a nice, quick contest as Jeff Hotby, the lefty swinging shortstop, digs in, and he swings and misses. That one was just a little bit too fast for him to start off his at-bat. The count is 0-1 on Hotby, who hails from the University of San Diego. A shortstop by trade, rising junior out of El Cajon, California. The pitch is swung and hit hard foul left side out of play. And the count is 0-2 quickly on Hotby. Hotby is used to being the guy at the top of the lineup with USD, but in the 9-hole here for Orleans, kind of maybe trying to provide a speedy guy at the bottom of that order as the pitch is high on an off-speed pitch to bring the count to 1-2. As Kelly Nicholson, the Orleans manager, in his 13th year, setting up the lineup card. 16th with the team. He was a pitching coach before then. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. He got him. And that retires the side in the bottom of the 2nd. No runs, a hit, and 1 left for the Firebirds in inning number 2. We are through 2, still scoreless here at Eldridge Park. We'll be right back. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Kevin Smith is perfect through 2 as the Georgia product has the Orleans Firebirds locked in a 0-0 tie as we're getting ready to begin the 3rd inning here from Eldridge Park in Orleans. Carter Waddell and Aiden Doyle here with you on opening night. What have you seen so far from Kevin Smith? You're mentioning that he had control struggles at Georgia this season. Walked a lot of hitters, but so far he's been able to keep those pitches in check, at least for now.
Exactly, and he's not blowing any of the hitters away. They're just not making solid contact at the plate. A lot of movement on his pitches. 4 ground balls so far through 2 innings and a pop-up to the catcher. Just 1 strikeout. Really doing a good job at limiting the hard contact.
The first pitch is swung and grounded to third base, tailing foul, and it just does get foul off the bat of Justin Coons, the catcher out of Gardner-Webb. That one bounded maybe a foot foul toward when it crossed the plane of the third base bag. Coons is a rising junior out of Wake Forest, North Carolina. Of course, that's not home to Wake Forest. That's in Winston-Salem. That university was moved. This past season, 41 games and starts. He's in 264, but a 388 on-base percentage. 20 walks to his name and 10 hit by pitches, which are just as good as long as you are able to stay healthy from him. The 0-1 pitch is grounded down the left field line. It's going to stay fair, heading to the left field corner. On the run to field it, out there is Stroshine. He gets to it, heading into second base, and gets in there safely at second. Sliding in with a double is Justin Coons. The first Whitecap base runner of this game is aboard as a hard ground ball. That one just hopped over the third base bag, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a good piece of hitting there by Coons right down the third baseline fair. Had 12 doubles this year for Gardner-Webb, and now has his first one here on Cape Cod.
That'll bring up the switch hitting center fielder, Devin Foyle, for the Brewster Whitecaps, hitting 8th in Coach Shev's lineup this evening. Runner on second base with nobody out. We're in the top of the 3rd inning, no score yet here at Eldridge Park. Foyle standing in, and the pitch is swung and hit hard right through the middle. It's going to get into center field for a base hit. Heading into third base and stopping there is Coons. So it'll be 1st and 3rd after a single from Foyle, and now the 9-hitter Graffinino will come up with a chance to drive in a run.
Well, Foyle just took the fastball there from Smith, drove it right back up the middle. Good piece of hitting. Exactly what you're taught to do in the cage, just drive it right back straight through the middle of the infield. Wasn't hit, or actually was hit very hard, excuse me. Got right out to the center fielder, Newt Barr, quickly, and that's why Coons was held at 3rd.
Kevin Smith, that was his first hitter from the stretch in this game so far. A.J. Graffinino will dig in from the left side. The shortstop out of Washington, just outside Seattle, hailing from Wilmington, Delaware. The first pitch to him is grooved in there for strike 1. Graffinino hit .269 with a .302 on-base percentage, no home runs, and 23 runs batted in last season. 10 walks against 30 strikeouts. And the pitch to him, 0-1, is swung on and hit on the ground to third base, and it gets past the third baseman, Austin, and into left field. Scoring is Coons. Heading over to second base and stopping there is Devin Foyle. We'll see how they score that, but I think it's going to be an RBI single for Graffinino, and either way, it's 1-0 Brewster.
It's definitely one Austin should have knocked down, but either way, I agree with you that it should be, or it's going to be ruled a single. Didn't hit his glove, just got right past him. Kind of played it off to the side, didn't get in front of it like you're taught to. And Graffinino, either way, drives in the first Whitecaps run of the season.
It does seem like here on opening day, the first day with these players' new teammates, that things are a bit out of sync in the field, at least early on in this game. And now it's back to the top of the Brewster order, and Connor Smith, who struck out his first time. The pitch to the righty is down and in at the knees. As we are back to our Smith versus Smith matchup. Count is 1-0 on Connor. Kevin Smith's fastball, it does have a little bit of a run to it from what we can see here and from what he was doing earlier this season against Georgia. Hasn't started a game since May 19th. 1-0 pitch is a soft dribbler to the left side. Smith will field it, and he'll turn around and wheel it over to first base, and it's a wild throw, and it heads over to the backstop. Scoring from second base is Foyle. Heading over to third base and getting there safely is Graffinino, and it's going to be an error and a run coming in for Brewster. That error is going to be charged to the pitcher, Smith, and it's 2-0 Whitecaps now. Some miscues in the field early.
Smith almost looked like a deer in the headlights there. Looked towards third base, trying to get Foyle at third, or at least trying to look him back. and the third baseman, Austin, wasn't covering the bag, so then tried to turn towards first, and with a speedy runner like Smith, had to rush the throw, and it got away from the first baseman past a tempo.
Graffinino is standing on third. Smith is at first base, reaching via the E1. Yeah, he looked like Kevin Smith had his heart set on getting the force out at third, and when that wasn't an option, didn't quite know what to do. The first pitch to the two-hitter is in there for a strike as Prado takes that one. Prado grounded out to second base to begin his Cape Cod League season. It's 2-0 Brewster here as we stand in the top of the third inning on the first game of the year. The pitch from Smith is swung on and missed. Runner's going for second, but throw down is in time, but it gets away from the second baseman, Grand Prix. I think that would have gotten the runner Smith if it had just been on line. But in any case, it should be a stolen base scoring for Smith. So 2 runners in scoring position now for the Whitecaps, second and third.
The throw certainly beat Smith to second, and I agree with you that if he had fielded it cleanly, probably would have had him. But either way, Smith in the second, and like you mentioned, 2 runners in scoring position now for Brewster.
So Prado standing in. The count is 0-2 on him now. With nobody out, the pitch is swing and a miss on a breaking ball. Now that was one of the best curveballs we've seen so far tonight from Kevin Smith. That one wound up right at the knees, and a swing and a miss from Prado, just kind of waved at it, and he is retired. So Prado is now 0-2 on the day. That's strikeout number 2 for Kevin Smith, and now it's Mickey Gasper's turn.
Just a quick update. The ball A.J. Graffinino hit to drive in Coons was ruled a single.
Okay.
So Graffinino 1 for 1 with an RBI single on the day.
I'm sure he'll be happy to get that RBI in his tally. I guess they ruled that he was at first base anyway. That's the decision of our official score. The first pitch is a breaking ball low to Gasper, the switch hitter batting from the right side. He had a high pop fly that was caught by the catcher Johnson in his first at-bat. As the Whitecaps were sent down 6 up, 6 down in the first couple of innings before Kevin Smith ran into some trouble here in the third. The Whitecaps are ahead 2-0. The pitch is in there for a strike. And the count now even, 1 ball, 1 strike on Mickey Gasper. Gasper, part of a Bryant team that won the NEC regular season title this past season, but weren't able to make it to the NCAA tournament. 1-1 pitch, swung on and hit on the ground, just foul, first base side. That was a hot shot, but it just kicked foul. So it's 1-2 now on Gasper, the reigning NEC Player of the Year. Gasper, another catcher by trade, playing first base. 3 traditional catchers in the Brewster lineup. We got Gasper at first, Curry the designated hitter, and then the actual catcher is Justin Coons. Gasper has struggled defensively behind the plate this season. He's got 15 passed balls to his name, and now he'll step out and take some time. Something we haven't seen so much in tonight's game. It's been played at a torrid pace here. The Whitecaps have a couple of runs in here in the top of the third to lead 2-0. Second and third with 1 out. The pitch is swung in a high chopper fielded by the pitcher Smith. He throws, and they got in between a rundown in between home plate and third, and charging home, and the throw is down. It is in time, and they tag out Graffinino as he was charging in. That was a good effort from AJ to draw the throw at least, and very close play at home plate, but they do rule him out. So it'll be a fielder's choice. Advancing to first base is Gasper, and staying at second is Connor Smith. So 2 on and 2 out for the Whitecaps. As Graffinino is retired, that'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Michael Curry. Another Bulldog. 3 Georgia Bulldogs on this Brewster Whitecaps team. 9 on the Cape League in all this season. Curry is 0 for 1 with a ground ball his first time tonight. The pitch to the right-hander is swung, hit high in the air right side, but tailing foul. That one nearly took a piece of a lights and heads over into the stands. And as with every foul ball here, all the kids out on the hill making their run for it.
Trust me, got some past experiences at multiple Cape League ballparks going after these foul balls.
So the count is 0-1 on the DH Curry. Holding the set is Kevin Smith, who slowed down a touch here. The 0-1, it's in there for a strike. Curry didn't like the call. He thought that one was inside. Moved back his turn away to try and avoid it, in fact. And the count is 0-2. Curry hailing from Gainesville, Georgia. Facing an 0-2 count here. The Whitecaps are ahead 2-0. We're in the top of the third. They're threatening to score again. The pitch, that's a breaking ball outside. Is getting out of his crouch to take that one was Johnson. Michael Curry has an interesting story in how he got to the University of Georgia. He comes from a mountain town in North Carolina, but then moved to Gainesville when he was in high school. His parents had to sign away their legal guardianship so he could go there and play baseball at a high school that has a good reputation for producing major league players. And as stepping off the mound to collect himself again is Kevin Smith. And he said that prepared him for college a little bit because he already had to go off to college when he switched over to high schools. Runners on first and second base. The pitch is just a bit high up at the letters, and so it's now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Michael Curry. Curry, as you mentioned, a lot of the players on Brewster and around the Cape Cod League have this trait where they jump in their freshman year and put up some numbers. Led the Bulldogs in home runs his freshman season a year ago. 2-2 pitch is low. That brings the count full, and that means the runners will be going here with 2 men out. And we'll see how Mickey Gasper, who, as I mentioned, is a catcher by trade, did have 3 stolen bases this past season, though. So does have a touch of speed, and now perhaps could score from first base as he will be running. Count is full on the righty swinging Curry. The pitch is just a bit high on the fastball, and Curry will reach, so the bases are loaded for the Whitecaps with 2 outs here in the top of the third.
Just a good at-bat there by Curry, laying off the breaking ball low, then laying off the fastball high to work the walk. You'd think a guy with that much power, goes up there trying to swing at everything, use that power, use that strength to drive a ball, but a really good selective eye that Michael Curry has shown thus far.
Cesar Trejo is the guy due up next for the Whitecaps. Been meeting on the mound just to try and get the head right here, Kevin Smith, as he has run into some trouble in this third inning. We mentioned he was cruising. Those first 6 batters in the first couple of innings sent him down in order with the help of 4 ground balls. But in this third inning, has surrendered 4 hits and a walk. The bases are loaded with 2 outs. The Whitecaps are ahead 2-0 here in the top of the third. And Cesar Trejo digs in from the right side. The pitch is swung and hit on the ground through the middle. The second baseman, Impree, moves to his left and steps on the second base bag for the force. And that will finish things in the top of the third inning. For the Whitecaps, they get 2 runs on 4 hits, and they leave 3. We are through 2.5 innings of play here at Eldridge Park. It's 2-0 Brewster. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Getting ready to start the bottom of the third here at Eldridge Park. It's 2-0 Brewster on opening night here on a gorgeous evening on Cape Cod, getting a bit cooler now as the sun starts to set. We've almost lost sight of it over on the hill out in right field. Due up, it's the top of the order for Orleans, starting with Newbar, who fouls one away on the left side for the pitch from Connor Higgins, who so far has been working quickly but struggling a bit with his control. He's left a few pitches up in this game. That's been the Achilles heel for him so far in this outing. But the Whitecaps able to play 2 runs in the top of the third. Pitch is, again, that one got up there on a fastball. So it's 1-1 as that one was taken high. Newbar started off his outing with a fly out to left field in the first inning. And here comes the 1-1 pitch. That one's up high again, up at the nose level. And the count is 2-1. Higgins taking a deep breath out there at the mound. You wonder how much the nerves. You said he's not a guy who is typically used to starting, used to coming in late in games as a reliever. 2-1 pitch. That's in there for a strike at the knees. Nice frame behind the plate from Coons. And the count is even 2-2 on the leadoff hitter, Newbar.
And coming in games late with high leverage situations, Higgins will actually tell you that's what he prefers. He says he loves closing games.
2-2 pitches hit on the ground to third base, fielded there by Smith. They'll throw across in time to retire Newbar. So Newbar is 0 for 2 on the day. Score that 5-3, and now it's Romy Gonzalez's turn.
Yeah, Higgins this year for Arizona State, like we've mentioned, 19 appearances, 18 of them in relief, had 4 saves for the Sun Devils. And here's his quote: "I love closing ball games. I love the game on the line. It really gets me going."
And he's got a 2-0 lead here, so safe situation. First pitch is taken for a strike at the knees by Romy Gonzalez. That was an off-speed pitch, and again, it looks like that strike zone is going to be, that low strike is going to get called pretty often tonight. 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss on a pitch at the knees. And the count is 0-2. You wonder how much the decision to swing there from Gonzalez is affected by that call on the first pitch. 0-2 the count, and it's up high again. As diving back just a little bit, there was Gonzalez, who struck out his first time. Now faces a 1-2 count against Higgins. Here in the bottom of the third inning, 2-0 Brewster. Pitch. Another fastball gets away. It's high and away. Count is even now, 2-2.
And one thing we've noticed with Higgins, maybe a little bit of trouble finishing his full delivery, stumbling a bit on the mound.
2-2 pitch is fouled away toward the Brewster dugout. That was a nice pitch down and in. And fighting it off there was Gonzalez. Yeah, you're right. It seems like he's not quite in rhythm so far. He's working so quickly. A lot of times when a pitcher works quickly, you think, okay, he's locked in, he's ready to go. Not sure if that's the case with Higgins so far. The pitch is swung and grounded or fouled right back off the mask of the catcher Coons and bounds towards the dugout on the first base side for the Firebirds. So we will stay at 2 balls and 2 strikes as Coons jogs out to have a chat with Connor Higgins. With the count 2-2, 1 away. The Whitecaps got a couple of runs on a couple of fielding miscues helped along the way. A play by Austin at third base that could have been made. That was scored a single, and then a wild throw from the pitcher Smith that again was scored a single. That got a couple of those runners across. 2-2 pitch on the way. It's swung on and missed. A foul tip into the glove of Coons, and down on strikes is Romy Gonzalez. That's strikeout number 4 for Higgins, so his control may be off a little bit, but he's been able to get the Ks up so far.
Yeah, it was a good breaking ball there by Higgins. May have left it a little bit up, but he's been primarily throwing that fastball for strikes. And even to put away hitters, he's blown that fastball by a few of them. There goes to the breaking ball, kind of catches Gonzalez off balance, maybe looking for that fastball. Throws the breaking ball instead way out in front of it.
And here comes the 3-hitter, Brandon Riley, the lefty. It's a breaking ball, and it's just a bit high. And the count is 1-0 to begin Riley's at-bat. Riley, as you mentioned, the UNC product, such a tough end to UNC's season. The 1-0 pitch is fouled back to the screen towards us as the Tar Heels hosting in their home regional, matched up with Davidson, a team that had never won an NCAA tournament game before in the history of its program. But the Wildcats not only knocked off the Tar Heels in the opening round, but knocked them out of the regional as well. The 1-0 pitch, that one is inside. Count is 2-1 now, 1-1.
And Davidson in the state of North Carolina, obviously its most famous alumni, just recording his 2nd NBA championship, Steph Curry.
And the pitch is low, yes. The Davidson Wildcats just moved to the A10. They had the automatic bid out of the Atlantic 10. Very much a basketball school. They've got a good following there in Charlotte, North Carolina over at Davidson. The lefty Riley faces a 3-1 count and hits it hard on the ground right to the second baseman Prado. He fields and throws to first base in time to retire the side. So it's a 1-2-3 bottom of the third inning, worked by Connor Higgins. We are through 3 innings of play. Brewster leads 2-0. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Eldridge Park here in beautiful Orleans, Massachusetts. Aidan Doyle alongside Carter Woodeel as we move to the top of the fourth inning. 2-0 Whitecaps. They lead over the Firebirds. Let's send it down to Maura Sheridan because this isn't the only game going on here on the Cape. Maura, what do you got?
Well, there's a couple tight ones, Aiden. Harwich and Whitey are tied up 1-1 right now, and Bourne and Kentuit also tied up 2-2. That's the top of the sixth over there. Wareham is down 3-0 to Hyannis, bottom of the sixth, and Chatham has a huge lead over Falmouth, 6-1, bottom of the sixth also there. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Maura. Big lead for the Anglers. Chandler Taylor leading things off for the Whitecaps. After a first pitch strike, he takes a fastball in the upper part of the zone and falls behind 0-2. 6, 7, 8 due up for the Whitecaps in the top of the fourth. Taylor 0 for 1 tonight with a ground out to the shortstop back in the second. Now fouls a breaking ball high in the air down the left field line, but drifting out of play as Stroshine runs out of room.
We've seen a lot of balls get fouled off there by the lefty hitters so far in this game. These hitters have had trouble adjusting, it looks like, to the stuff that the pitchers have been throwing, not quite getting around on all the pitches. We've seen a couple of hard hit balls today, but a lot of dribblers, choppers, and fouls.
Kevin Smith working from the windup, kicks and delivers. Breaking ball cut on and missed by Taylor. He goes down swinging for out number 1.
That breaking ball really is the key to Kevin Smith's game. If he can throw that like he did there at the knees where you got to swing at it if you're trying to protect the plate, he can be a really good pitcher. It's just a lot of times he's lost the handle on it a little bit in his career and in this past season for UGA. So that's something to watch not just now but for the rest of the season if he stays in this role.
Now Justin Coons, right-handed hitting catcher, steps into the box, fouls a first pitch fastball high and out of play down the first base line. Coons 1 for 1 tonight, had the first hit for the Whitecaps of the season, a double down the third base line, then would eventually come around to score on an A.J. Graffinino single. Coons out of Gardner-Webb University, behind in the count 0-1 as Smith kicks and deals. Fastball once again fouled off over the first base dugout, and Coons quickly behind 0-2. Smith looking into his catcher, Johnson. Ready, kicks, and the 0-2. Change up, cut on and miss. Coons a little bit out in front of that, and Smith retires the first two batters of the fourth via the strikeout.
Well, you don't see that too often from Smith. He's primarily a two-pitch pitcher, likes that fastball and curveball, but a really good decision there to pull the string, and clearly Coons was not ready for it.
And a lot of guys come to the Cape League to learn a third or fourth pitch. I mean, you mentioned the two-pitch pitchers. Mike Roberts, head coach of the Kentuit Kettleers, is famous for developing pitchers' change-ups when they get to the Cape. Devin Foyle, center fielder out of Kansas, steps up and lines one into right field. Moving to his left is Riley, and he gets there with plenty of time for the third out of the inning. Whitecaps go down 1-2-3, no runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base after 3.5. Whitecaps lead 2-0. Keep it locked in. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to Eldridge Park, where the Brewster Whitecaps hold a 2-0 lead over the Orleans Firebirds as we move to the bottom of the fourth inning. It'll be the heart of the Firebirds order against Connor Higgins. who fires a first pitch fastball high to Kevin Stroshine. Stroshine, the Firebirds left fielder, reached on an error in the first inning and now fouls this one back right towards us. Comes up a little bit short though. 1-1 the count on the right-handed hitting left fielder. Connor Higgins, like I mentioned, still on the mound for the Whitecaps, really pitching well so far. 3 scoreless for the big lefty out of Arizona State, as Stroshine fouls an inside fastball off down the first base line, and the count moves to 1-2. Higgins working from the windup, kicks and delivers fastball, chopped towards short, fielding it on a hop as Graffinino fires over to first in time for out number 1.
Nice job by Graffinino. You know, we talked about how they're resurfacing every field, but it's still kind of tricky sometimes to read choppers like that one to shortstop. We've seen a couple of players already tonight get a little bit confused by the bounces there, and Graffinino was able to make the play against his body.
Well, that'll bring up the right-handed hitting first baseman Steve Passatempo out of UMass Lowell. He's 0 for 1 tonight with a ground out to second base back in the first, and he takes a fastball high for ball number 1. Passatempo played with the Wisconsin Woodchucks of the Northwoods League last year as he swings through a high fastball from Higgins to even the count at 1-1.
Passatempo really is well suited to this ballpark. He's a pull hitter, he's got a lot of power, and the short left field porch here could really help him.
He chases another high fastball and swings right to it, to fall behind 1-2. Higgins looking into the catcher, Coons. Has what he wants, kicks and deals fastball, paints the outside black, strike 3, Passatempo down looking.
That was an excellent location there. That's the sort of pitch that we've seen today maybe get run up at the letters or at the eyes from Higgins. That one was located right where he wanted it in the lower part of the zone. He's going to want to keep that up if he's going to want to extend this outing so far tonight and protect his 2-0 Whitecaps lead.
Now Cole Austin stepping in the box for the Firebirds, looks at a first pitch fastball from Higgins for strike 1. Austin 0 for 1 tonight with a strikeout to lead things off in the bottom of the second. And now the 0-1 from Higgins, fouled straight back just to your right, Carter. And he's quickly behind 0-2.
Yeah, we're situated here pretty much right behind home plate at field level, and it's we got to have good reflexes. I know there's a net in front of us, but you never know.
This net has a lot
of
give to it, so as Austin takes a fastball inside, count moves to 1-2. If one's fouled straight back into net, it possibly could go back towards the faces here.
As long as the equipment stays fine. You know what I'm saying?
This is why I brought my glove. Higgins is 1-2. Off-speed pitch, misses high. Count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2s across the board, out in the scoreboard in left field. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And Higgins once again working quickly. Blows a fastball right past Cole Austin for his second strikeout of the inning. 1-2-3. Go the Firebirds. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on base. 4 full innings in the books here at Eldridge Park. Whitecaps still on top, 2-0. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. It'll be 9-1-2 for the Whitecaps in the top of the 5th inning. A.J. Graffinino, Connor Smith, and Anthony Prado due up for Brewster. Kevin Smith still on the mound for the Whitecaps. Interesting point about Smith. I was talking to both of the Firebirds broadcasters before the game. They said he's on a strict 20-inning limit for the season, so very limited in the use Kelly Nicholson can give him, giving him the opening day start, but it'll be interesting to see just how long they let him go. First pitch to Graffinino, misses down and away for ball one.
If there's anybody who knows how to handle a pitcher, it's Kelly Nicholson and his staff here in Orleans.
Graffinino swings at the 0-1 pitch, fouls it off. Excuse me, now it's 1-1. It was a 1-0 pitch.
Yeah, Mr. Orleans staff is just so known. It's interesting when you get a lot of guys coming in, innings limits, getting shut down for the year. There are a couple of Whitecaps players who were on their way over and then got shut down. And they've been able to handle it well.
1-1 breaking ball from Smith. This is down and away. They appeal to the third base umpire who says he did not go. Count moves to 2-1. Graffinino, his second year here playing for the Whitecaps. Last year batted .278 for Brewster. 20 hits, 1 home run in 30 games. Lifts this one high in the air down the left field line. Moving out of play, and Stroshine will run out of room. Count evens at 2-2. Lefty-lefty matchup here. Graffinino used to be a switch hitter in 2016, but made the switch to batting only left-handed now. So even with a lefty on the mound, Graffinino batting left-handed for Brewster.
Wonder how he feels about that against a side-arming lefty like Smith.
It can't be can't be very easy for Graffinino, as a 2-2 grounded right back up the middle. Moving to his right is Grand Prix. Fields throws in time for out number 1.
Ground ball has been key so far in this game for Kevin Smith. He's been able to throw pitches down in the zone, but the Whitecaps have just sort of fended off. And aside from that third inning where Brewster was able to get a couple of runs on some fielding miscues, playing a role, including one from Smith himself, it's been a very clean performance. Out of the windup, he hasn't allowed a batter to reach.
Now it'll be the leadoff man, Connor Smith, digging in against Kevin Smith. The third time the Smiths have faced off tonight, as the first pitch fastball misses downstairs for ball 1. Smith 0 for 2 today, reached on an error in the third, struck out in the first, would steal second base but be stranded at third as he swings through an off-speed pitch from Smith, and the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Anthony Prado waits on deck for the Whitecaps as Smith takes ball 2 inside.
Interesting to see where Smith goes here. Was able to fool him with the breaking ball early in the count, then missed there with a harder pitch.
Smith's 2-1, kicks and deals. Fastball misses off the plate, and Smith's ahead in the count 3-1.
That's the thing about Kevin Smith, the way he plays. He doesn't have a fastball that's going to blow you out of your shoes necessarily, unless he really is able to set it up with the off-speed stuff.
3-1 from Smith. Fastball misses in the dirt, and Connor Smith is aboard for the second time today, this time via the walk.
Yeah, 2-1 had that single earlier in the third inning that allowed a run to score, and 1 RBI. And now Prado will be looking to get on base for the first time.
Be the second walk Smith has given up in the game so far for the Firebirds. Anthony Prado, right-handed hitting second baseman, out of the University of Connecticut, digs in. He's 0 for 2 tonight, as Smith leads off of first. And the pitcher, Smith, comes set, kicks and deals. Fastball in there over the inner half of the plate for strike 1.
That's a great fastball strike. Strike 1's so important here. You wonder how much Kevin Smith is thinking about what happened the last time he gave up a base runner. He's going to want to get this walk off the base pass quickly.
Smith set, kicks and the 0-1. This one lined down the first base line, just foul as it rolls towards the fans out in right field. And Prado quickly behind 0-2. Prado last summer played for the Staten Island Tide, which is actually the team that Brewster bench coach Tommy Weber used to manage. So an interesting connection there. As Smith comes set, kicks and the 0-2. Off-speed pitch misses down and away. 1-2 the count to Prado. This year, Prado's Huskies went 33-25. The infielder started 55 games and was second on the team with a .304 batting average. Smith deals and the 1-2. Breaking ball on the ground softly towards third, fielded by Austin, throwing to first in time for out number 2.
Really hustling there, the helmet flying off the head of Prado as he was charging, and I think we saw that on his first ground ball to second base in the first inning. He's not a guy who's going to try and mosey up the line. That's something at the Cape that people are looking for. You know, there are obviously a lot of scouts that are here tonight and that are going to be at every Cape League game, and they're not just looking at stuff that they can find in the stat sheet. They're looking for stuff like that, whether you're going to really hustle down to first base.
Smith was able to advance to second on the ground ball. Typically, you'd think if it was a little harder hit, would be a tailor-made double play ball, but it got caught up in the grass here at Eldridge Park, which allowed Smith to move to second base. And a first pitch breaking ball to Mickey Gasper misses down and in for ball 1. Gasper 0 for 2 on the night, popped out to the catcher in the first, and then reached on a fielder's choice in the third. Has a 2-out opportunity here for Brewster as Smith leads off of second. And he hits this one high in the air, deep to left field. Going back is Stroshine at the wall. And that ball is gone. A home run for Mickey Gasper, the first one of the season for Brewster. And they double their lead. Brewster now on top of Orleans 4-0. Mickey Gasper deep to left center field. First home run of the season for the Whitecaps.
And that was one that did not have any doubt to it at all, especially in this ballpark. Only 350 out to the Fowler Alley out in left center field. And he didn't need that porch there, did he? Did Gasper just put a drive into that one, and Brewster is able to double their lead.
A very well hit ball, to say the least, by Mickey Gasper. And now, you know, a 2-0 lead can change in an instant. 4-0, that's getting a bit more sizable, much more comfortable, as Michael Curry goes after a high fastball from Smith. He blew it right past him for strike 1.
That's something he'll be able to say for a while, Mickey Gasper. He had the first homer of the year.
As this one's lifted in the air deep to center field, drifting back is Nootbaar. He camps underneath it for the third out of the inning, but the damage is done. Mickey Gasper had an opportunity with 2 outs, and he made the most of it. A 2-run home run to left center field, as the Whitecaps now, after 4.5, lead 4-0, moving to the bottom of the 5th here at Eldridge Park. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps baseball. Bottom of the order due up for the Firebirds. And as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning, 4-0 Whitecaps, as Preston Grand Prix looks at a first pitch strike from Connor Higgins. Whitecaps getting 2 runs in the top of the 5th on a Mickey Gasper home run. This one chopped towards short. Charging is Graffinino. Fields on a hop. Strong throw to first in time to retire Grand Prix for out number 1.
Graffinino's had a pretty impressive day at shortstop so far, navigating the balls that have been caught up in what is a pretty long infield turf here at Eldridge Park. Able to navigate that chopper well for the out.
That'll bring up Cooper Johnson, the number 8 hitter for the Firebirds. He is 1 for 1 tonight, singled back in the bottom of the second inning.
There is a righty warming up in the pen for Orleans. It's Jake Wong out of Grand Canyon.
First pitch from Higgins, fouled off of the mask of Coons. as Johnson falls behind 0-1.
And it looks like the Brewster bullpen has some activity too.
0-1 fastball from Higgins inside, on the inner half of the plate for strike 2. So the lefty out of Arizona State quickly ahead 0-2 and deals a fastball. This one chopped foul down the third base line as Johnson stays alive. Oh, 2 from Higgins. Off-speed pitch misses high. Count moves 1 ball and 2 strikes. Johnson hailing from Ole Miss, a catcher out of the SEC, originally from Mundelein, Illinois, as he fouls this one off out of play behind home plate. Count remains 1-2.
Yeah, just getting to the Cape is a big deal for Johnson. He wasn't the starting catcher for Ole Miss at one point this season, and now he's starting on opening day for a storied Cape Cod League team after heating up toward the end of the year.
1-2 the count to Johnson. Higgins kicks and deals off-speed pitch, misses just above the letters, and the count evens at 2-2.
I think that's a good pitch there from Higgins. Missed with the off-speed, as you said, but that was right there for him to chase at.
2-2 from Higgins. Skied in the air in the infield. Prado is called off by the first baseman Gasper, who puts it away just to the right of the pitcher's mound for out number 2.
Little unusual there to see the first baseman be the guy to take control and direct traffic, but that's something that's tough when you got a new team, bunch of guys getting thrown together. You get a hit a pop fly to the infield. Somebody's got to step up. That was a nice play from Gasper to take control.
And that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Jeff Hotby, shortstop out of the University of San Diego. First pitch from Higgins, a fastball in there for strike 1.
That was well placed. We were talking about in the break the velocity of Higgins maybe not lighting up the radar gun, so to speak, but he's getting some pop to some of those fastballs.
This one, the 0-1 from Higgins, fouled off, and he's quickly behind 0-2. Hotby 0 for 1 tonight, struck out swinging to end the second. And now looks at a fastball just off the plate from Higgins. Count moves to 1-2.
That's got to be tough for Higgins because that's a call a lot of the pitchers have gotten so far tonight. That pitch at Beniz, and it was pretty well framed there from Coons behind the dish, but he'll have to try it again.
1-2 from Higgins. Fastball, reaches for it, and he just gets a piece of it, fouls it off over the Whitecaps dugout and out of play.
And those pitches, those borderline pitches are tougher to get when you got an 0-2 count as opposed to a 1-2 or a 2-2 because the umpire is hesitant to pull the trigger on strike 3.
1-2 fastball from Higgins, misses high, about eye level, and the count evens at 2-2. Once again, 2s across the board, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs.
And it works the other way, too. When you got 3 balls, the strike zone expands.
This one lifted high in the air in center field. Charging is Foyle, but going back is Graffinino, and it's the center fielder Foyle who calls him off for the 3rd out of the inning. Another 1-2-3 inning for Connor Higgins. 5 scoreless for the lefty out of Arizona State. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base in the bottom of the 5th for the Firebirds. We played 5 full here at Eldridge Park. 4-0 Brewster. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Back here at Eldridge Park in beautiful Orleans, Massachusetts, where the Whitecaps hold a 4-0 lead over the Orleans Firebirds. And while the offense is looking great right now, it may look even better coming up. Morris Sheridan has more.
Well, guys, the Whitecaps have some more hitting power on the way. Steele Walker, his flight just landed from Oklahoma, and he's headed to Brewster right now. I just got word of that. The outfielder from Oklahoma, he had 8 home runs this year for the Sooners, 15 doubles, and batted just under .340. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Morris. Steele Walker, an excellent outfielder out of the University of Oklahoma. As we move to the top of the 6th inning, it'll be 5, 6, 7 due up for Brewster. Cesar Trejo, Chandler Taylor, and Justin Coons for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, Walker's he's gonna have a hard time topping the summer that he had in the Northwoods League with the Woodchucks, the Wisconsin Woodchucks over there last summer. Northwoods League All-Star, went on a 20-game hitting streak that broke a team record. He has just been clobbering the ball in the summer, at least.
And a pitching change for the Firebirds. Kevin Smith done after 5 innings, and now it's Jake Wong, right-hander out of Grand Canyon University, on the mound now for Orleans. And his first pitch, fastball misses high to Trejo. Righty-righty matchup as Wong deals and blows a fastball right past Trejo to even the count, 1-1.
The line on Smith, 5 innings pitched, as you mentioned, 5 hits allowed, 2 walks, one of which came around to score 4 strikeouts and 4 runs allowed.
The 1-1 from Wong. Breaking ball misses in the dirt. Trejo tonight 0 for 2, grounded out to short in the second, and then had a fielder's choice to end the third. Chops this one foul down the third base line, and the count evens at 2-2. So far, the story really been Connor Higgins on the mound for the Whitecaps. 5 scoreless thus far. As Wong's 2-2, breaking ball in there, strike 3. Trejo goes down looking.
That was a terrific breaking pitch, just froze Trejo. I think he was thinking something harder there, but he grooved it right in there, and nothing that Trejo could do. Brilliant pitch.
That'll bring up the left-handed hitting right fielder Chandler Taylor out of the University of Alabama. He's 0 for 2 tonight, grounded out to the shortstop to end the second, and struck out swinging in the top of the 4th. He takes a first pitch fastball high and outside for ball 1. Wong working from the windup, kicks and deals, off-speed pitch, catches the outside corner, count evens, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sun has pretty much gone down here in Orleans behind Nauset Regional Middle School, so it is no longer in the players' eyes. Lights on here at Eldridge Park, and the 1-1 from Wong, cut on and missed by Taylor, who's behind at the count now, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You can't quite see as much as in middle school as he used to. They just put in a new batter's eye fence out there in center field, part of some improvements here at Eldridge Park before this season. It's covering up that recreation area, some school buses back there.
And the 1-2 fastball cut on and missed by Taylor. He chased one high as he goes down swinging for the second out and second strikeout of the inning for Wong.
Well, clearly Wong has the ability to change speeds because we've seen it go both ways now. We saw him fool Trejo with a breaking pitch that froze him, and there, the fastball that was too fast for Taylor. He's been able to pull the string and blow it by him when he needs to in these first 2 at-bats. Can't ask for a better start.
That'll bring up the number 7 hitter, Justin Coons, who takes a fastball outside for ball 1. Coons 1 for 2 on the night, doubled in the 3rd, and would come around to score on a Graffinino single, and then struck out swinging in the 4th. Righty-righty matchup. Wong looking into his catcher Johnson, now goes through the windup and deals a breaking ball that misses downstairs in the dirt. Coons quickly ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. You mentioned the batter's eye fence out here in center field. One of the problems, I know you're new to the Cape, here in Orleans as well as in Chatham, is a lot of times there are cars out in the outfield that have their lights on. As Coons fouls one straight back to the fence, count moves to 2-1. And so they actually have to pause the game until the car, they put it on the PA system, say, please turn your lights off. And they have to wait until the person turns their lights off before resuming the game. So I think that's really the fence is the reason the fence is out there, as Coons takes a fastball high and is heading the count, 3 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, certainly no big black batter's eyes like you're used to seeing when you go to your AAA team.
Exactly. There is a nice bandstand out in right field, though. So actually, during the summer, the Boston Pops come down and have a concert here in Orleans. And it's right here at Eldridge Park as this one's hit on the ground towards short. Moving to his left is the third baseman, Austin. Long throw, but in time for the third out of the inning. The Whitecaps go down in order 1, 2, 3. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on base. We've played 5.5 here in Orleans. Brewster on top of the Firebirds. 4-0. Keep it right here. You are listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Now on the mound for the Whitecaps, the man they call Broomy. Robert Broom out of Mercer University takes over for Connor Higgins, who was brilliant in his first Cape League start. Went 5 scoreless for the Whitecaps, who lead the Orleans Firebirds 4-0. Broom has an interesting delivery, to say the least. Throws submarine, but when I talk to him, he says, I never really have a consistent arm angle. He even changes it up in the middle of at-bats just to try and fool the hitter. He says, I don't really lose any command when I do it, so as long as it's messing with the hitter and not me, whatever. He's got a pretty interesting take on, a lot of guys say, got to repeat the delivery. He's like, no, I don't want to do that.
I'm sure that's the sort of thing that can drive a pitching coach crazy, because you want to make sure that he has repetition, that he's able to replicate everything so he can settle into a groove. But, hey, as the saying goes, if it ain't broke, right?
Exactly. He'll face the top of the Firebirds order, Lars Nootbaar, leading things off and takes a first pitch fastball high for ball 1. Nootbaar today 0 for 2. Flew out to left in the first and then grounded out to third in the third. Broom comes set and deals. Breaking ball misses down and in. And he's quickly behind 2 balls and no strikes. Broom, the right-hander, like I mentioned, out of Mercer University. Originally hails from Rising Fawn, Georgia. Went to Gordon Lee High School there. And this one's hit high in the air, deep towards center field. Going back as foil, and he now camps underneath it for out number 1.
And he really did dip down there. That was almost a submarine pitch there on that particular delivery there from Broom. One of those where you hope that his knuckles don't scrape against the dirt on the pitcher's mound. Pretty impressive that he's able to go to that and then maybe a little bit more of a traditional arm angle and still be able to get his pitches where he wants, keep that command around.
He now faces Romy Gonzalez, the designated hitter for the Firebirds, who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts thus far. 1 down here in the bottom of the 6th inning in Orleans, as Gonzalez takes a first pitch fastball outside for ball 1. Brewster on top of the Firebirds 4-0. 2 of those runs coming on a 2-run Mickey Gasper home run in the top of the 5th inning. As the 1-0 from Broom, fastball misses high above the letters, count 2 balls and no strikes. Broom this year appeared in 31 games for Mercer, went 8-2 with a 2.04 ERA and a save. Struck out 82 batters in 61 2/3 innings. Led the team in ERA, wins, opponent's average, and appearances. And he fires a fastball there over the inner half of the plate for strike one. Counts 2 balls and 2 balls and 1 strike.
Final line on Kiner Higgins, he couldn't have really asked for much better. Through 5 innings of work, only gave up 2 hits, 1 walk, and he retired the final 10 hitters he faced. Struck out a total of 6 batters.
The off-speed pitch from Broom, cut on and missed by Gonzalez. Count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Broom throws a 2-seam fastball. He says it's almost like a sinker because of his delivery. Drops off the table a little bit. A slider and a changeup. Says he throws the slider in any count and considers it his go-to pitch. And there it is, a breaking ball waved at and missed by Romy Gonzalez for strike 3. Gonzalez strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. Not exactly the Cape League debut he was hoping for. And quickly they're 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, I think it's the minor league hockey players who want to get the hat trick in their first outing, right? Maybe not the baseball players in college. Of course, it's a long season. We'll see how he gets fit into the fold. But this first week, it can mean a lot to a lot of the players on each team, especially the guys who aren't sure whether they'll be around for the full season or not.
Brandon Riley now steps into the box for the Firebirds and looks at a first pitch fastball from Broom for strike 1. Riley tonight 0 for 1, reached on a walk in the first inning. Broom working from the stretch, comes set, kicks and the 0-1. Misses inside, count evens, 1 ball and 1 strike. One of the more interesting quotes this season thus far, Whitecaps catcher Michael Curry, who hails from the University of Georgia, faced Broom when Broom and the Mercer baseball team and Georgia's Bulldogs faced off, as Broom fires a fastball in the upper part of the zone to get ahead 1-2. When asked about a slider, Curry said, "I can see a slider, but I just can't hit it." So he knows what's coming, he can see it, he knows that's the slider. He can't hit it though. And the 1-2 from Broom. Tried to check his swing, couldn't, and looks like it was a strike anyways, as Riley goes down looking. The 3rd out of the inning. Firebirds go down in order. A perfect 1-2-3 debut for Robert Broom after 6 full innings. The Brewster Whitecaps lead the Orleans Firebirds by a score of 4-0. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball.
Getting ready to begin the 7th inning of play here in Orleans. It's a score. It's 4-0 Whitecaps. The Whitecaps getting their runs on a couple of hits in the 3rd inning with a couple of defensive miscues along the way as well. And a 2-run home run in the 5th by Mickey Gasper brought in the 2nd pair of Brewster runs. And that's where we stand. It's 4-0 Brewster. The pitching for the Whitecaps starting with Higgins and then Broom in that past inning has done excellently so far in this game. And speaking of pitching, there's a new one to tell you about for the Firebirds. It's JT Hinson, the righty hailing from Florida Southern College, a native of Old Greenwich, Connecticut. This past season, 21 appearances. They were all out of the bullpen for Florida Southern. A 2.56 ERA, struck out 53 hitters. The Whitecaps will have their 8, 9, and 2 hitters, starting with the lefty Devin Foyle, and the pitch is low. That one squirted past the catcher Johnson, and the count is 1-0 early on Foyle. Foyle, a switch hitter, moving over to the left side against the righty Hinson, was earlier batting from the right side against the lefty Kevin Smith. The pitch is swung and hit a looper down the left side, and it's caught by the third baseman, Austin. A nice grab by Austin, reaching toward foul ground on a bit of a tough-to-read baseball, and that is the first out of the top of the 7th.
Well, that was a little looper caught by the third baseman, Austin, but Hinson's really got put away stuff in just 31 2/3 innings this year for Florida Southern. Had 53 strikeouts, so well over a strikeout per inning for the right-hander.
But the level of play certainly a step up once you get to the Cape. It's a 9-hitter for the Whitecaps, A.J. Graffinino, into the left side, and the pitch is grooved in there for a strike. Graffinese starting off with an off-speed pitch there is Hinson, and he gets ahead in the count 0-1. Graffinino so far tonight singled and then was caught in a rundown later on between third and home plate, and then grounded out to second base to begin the 5th inning. The pitch is a breaking ball that just seemed to slip out of his hand. Didn't really have any bite to it, and it was high. Count is now 1-1 strike on A.J. Graffinino. Digging in from the left side. The lights are on, and they are pretty much reliant for light now as the sun is basically out of our view. 1-1 pitch is hit high in the air toward the left side, but it will tail foul into the stands out there. Counts 1-2 on the Whitecaps 9-hitter.
So many unique features here. I know we've touched on them already, Carter, but at all these Cape League ballparks here in Orleans, the bandstand out in right field, the hill down the first base line where fans lay their blankets and lawn chairs, the street going down the third base line. Really, no other place in the country where you can find things like this at every ballpark.
1-2 pitches hit high in the air and foul left side. Yeah, this is one of the oldest ballparks that you're going to find here on the Cape Cod League and in general. Built in 1913, just a year after Fenway Park was built, was commissioned then, and has hosted Cape Cod baseball since the 60s. The count 1-2, and the pitch to Graffinino is swung and hit hard right to center field. Newbar had to hesitate a bit, but comes in and makes the catch. That was a line drive, a real hot shot that he had trouble reading at first, stepped back and then ran in, but did make the play for out number 2 on the line drive.
Well, Graffinino got a really good piece of it, lined it really hard into center field, just right at Newtbar, and they say the hardest one for an outfielder to play is the one right at you, and that certainly looked to be the case with Newtbar. Kind of came in, like you mentioned, hesitated a bit, stutter step, didn't look like he quite knew what was going on, but the end result, exactly what Orleans wanted as a fly out to center field.
That'll bring up the shortstop, Connor Smith, hitting from the right side. He takes a pitch just inside on a breaking ball as again Hinson deciding to begin the at-bat with some off-speed stuff, pitching backwards a little bit early. 2 gone here, top of the 7th inning. The Whitecaps are ahead 4-0. Hinson deals the pitch. That's grooved in there for strike number 1. Count is 1-1 strike on Smith. Smith has reached base twice so far in this game. Did have a strikeout to his name in the first inning. That was against Kevin Smith. Here comes the 1-1. Swan hit it softly on the ground, right side, charging to field it is the second baseman, Grand Prix. He barehands it and flips it over to first base for the out. A nice play there by Grand Prix at second base. Just picked that one off of the infield grass and flipped it over, no problem. Made that one look easy. And it's a 1-2-3 top of the 7th inning for the Whitecaps. It's time to stretch here at Eldridge Park. It's 4-0 Brewster. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Take Me Out to the Ball Game has been sung. The seventh inning stretch has concluded, and we're ready to go for baseball here in the bottom half of the seventh inning. It's still 4-0 Brewster as Stroshine, Passatempo, and Austin are due up for the Firebirds against Robert Broom. The first pitch from the side-arming righty is a fastball that almost seemed to run up. It was called a strike at the letters. Almost a sort of softball type pitch there. If it rose up from that almost submarine arm motion from Broom, who entered the game an inning ago. 0-1 pitch is taken outside. Another harder pitch. The count is even now, 1 ball and 1 strike on Stroshine. Stroshine reached on a little bit of a misplay his first time up in the first inning and then grounded out to shortstop in the fourth. That's his day. That is now turning in tonight. 1-1 pitch is taken for a strike at the knees. See Matt Lowe's strike get called pretty often tonight. And I'm sure if you go into either dugout and they'll say, you know, no matter what the zone is, as long as it's getting called consistently, they'll be all right. 1-2 is the count on Stroshine. The pitch. That is in there, called strike 3. That was a nice at-bat for Broom. Just made his pitches, good command, hit the target all 4 times he delivered the ball. And Stroshine is down. That's Broom's 3rd strikeout already in 4 hitters.
Broom looking really impressive thus far. You mentioned the 3 strikeouts, 4 hitters. And that's what he's got. He's got that put-away slider. It's really important for a pitcher to have that go-to pitch. When things aren't working, you have that pitch you can go to. As an avid golfer, if you aren't hitting the driver well off the tee, have that secondary club you can hit for, you know, a straight tee shot.
Pitch to the righty, Steve Passatempo, is an off-speed pitch in there for a strike. And that is important, especially when you're in a new environment, new surroundings, to rely on the stuff that you know best. 0-1 pitch is swung, hit high in the air into shallow center. Coming on is Foyle, and he is called off by the second baseman Prado moving out, and he makes the grab on the high pop fly in shallow center field. And quickly there are 2 gone here in the bottom half of the 7th.
Well, that almost looked like it was going to fall into no man's land. Foyle was a little bit late coming in on it, but Prado doing a good job backpedaling. That's a tough play to make, you know, going back. Typically you see the center fielder take charge there, but a nice play by the second baseman out of UConn.
We've seen a few unusual plays where the wrong guy is called it. We saw a first baseman go in and grab it on a pop fly on the right side of the infield. We've seen a few unusual decisions from these new teammates. The first pitch is just a bit inside for ball 1 to Cole Austin. The third baseman, he's trying to avoid a hat trick. He has been a strikeout victim twice in this game. Both of those were against Connor Higgins. If you're just joining us, he started this game for Brewster and was terrific. 1-0 pitch is swing and a miss. He checked his swing but couldn't hold up enough. And the count is 1-1. Higgins finished the game with 6 strikeouts in 5 innings, retired the final 10 men, that he faced in those 5 innings of work. It's 4-0 Brewster, bottom 7. 1-1 on the way to Austin. He fouls that one back to the screen. That one just hopped over the screen and into the seats out there. A little bit of a heads up for the fans sitting in their lawn chairs and blankets, and the count is 1-2.
One thing that I've been really impressed with Broom is his ability to use that fastball to get ahead in the count, commanding it really well, and then he's got that slider to put away hitters once he's ahead.
1-2 pitch is inside, as that one didn't have the life to it that Broom typically has with that off-speed stuff. Count is 2-2 on the rising junior from Kennesaw, Georgia, Cole Austin. Austin, part of a West Virginia team that made just the 3rd regional final in their school's history this past tournament. The pitch is swung on and missed. He got him. And Robert Broom with a terrific outing so far. 6 up and 6 down on his evening. It's a 1-2-3 bottom of the 7th. We are still 4-0 Brewster is our score here in Orleans. Don't go away. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to Eldridge Park, where we're getting ready to start inning number 8, and we're seeing a couple of substitutions in this game right now. First off, the Whitecaps are sending in a pinch hitter. It looks like Troy Dixon, out of Samford University, the infielder, is taking his hacks. He's getting ready to lead off the 8th inning for Brewster, and a new pitcher to tell you about for the Firebirds. It's Kanan Cropper is coming in, the right-hander. And before we get you set on that, let's go over to Koki Riley with an update from around the league. Koki?
Chatham is up 8-7 on Falmouth. The Harbor Hawks are up 3-0 on the Gatemen. Bourne's up, Katuitt's up 5-3 on Bourne, and it's tied 2-2 between YD and Harwich.
Okay, thank you, Koki. Always exciting on opening night to get your first taste of the teams. With so many new players, so much shifting rosters, it's always great to see them get suited up, put the unis on, and get on the field. The Whitecaps are ahead 4-0 as you get ready to start the 8th inning. It's been, as a lot of early season games are on the Cape, a good day to be a pitcher. And the first pitch is up high at the eyes to Troy Dixon. Dixon is a rising junior out of Mobile, Alabama, and of UMS Wright High School. He was a two-sport star down in Mobile, his school's all-time leading rusher on the football field. As the 1-0 pitch is also just a bit high. Had a lot of thought put into whether he was going to go and play football or play baseball, but elected to go and play baseball at Stanford with his older brother TJ. 2-0 pitch is outside, and it pops out of the glove of the catcher Johnson. So it's quickly 3-0 now on Troy Dixon, as his Cape experience is starting with 3 pitches that he wasn't quite able to get a hit on.
And even though he was such a talented football player in high school, he wears number 23, and I was there when he was getting his first uniform.
The pitch is in there for a called strike, and it's 3-1.
Here with Brewster, and the first thing he said, I asked him, I'm like, what number do you got? Because I was handing him out, and he goes, 23, shout out MJ, shout out Michael Jordan. So
3-1 pitch is outside, and he walked him.
Paying homage to arguably the greatest basketball player of all time.
That's an argument that I'm sure a lot of people are having, especially this time of year. And Dixon advances. So a leadoff walk surrendered by Cropper. Those are the ones that always seem to come around, don't they? His first walk and his first hitter. And that will bring up Mickey Gasper. Last time up for Gasper, and no doubt about it. 2-run homer. That was from the right side. He's now hitting from the left side against the righty Cropper. Runner on first base. The pitch is up high. Dixon is a threat to run. 7 out of 9 stolen bases with Samford this past season. So certainly should not be slept on there at first base. Count is 1-0. Whitecaps ahead 4-0. We're in the top of the 8th inning here in Orleans, on a gorgeous night here at Eldridge Park. 1-0 is on the way. Runner goes for second. Pitch is high, and it pops out of the glove of Johnson, and getting into second base with a stolen base is Troy Dixon. So he walks and steals a base, and now, without even getting a hit, the Whitecaps have a runner in scoring position here. Gasper popped out behind the plate and hit into a funky fielder's choice that involved a rundown between the home plate and third base before that 2-run home run over this pretty short left field wall here at Eldridge Park. The pitch is outside, and that brings the count to 3-0. Kanan Cropper, the rising senior out of Salisbury, Maryland, University of South Carolina transfer, moved down to a Division II club, having trouble with his command so far in his outing. Holds the set, checks the runner at second base, Dixon. And here comes the 3-0 pitch. It gets past the catcher Johnson to the backstop. It's ball 4 anyway, but heading into third base on the play is Troy Dixon. So it'll be first and third on the walk, and the Whitecaps have a real rally going despite not getting a hit.
Well, control's been the name of the game so far for all these pitchers, making sure they're locating their pitches. We talked about it so frequently at the beginning of the game, making sure that these pitchers were able to command their pitches, find the corners of the zone, not just give up, the meatballs, obviously, but not walking guys. There are so many talented hitters in the Cape League who have such great eyes, and so far they've done a pretty good job. but Cropper coming in having trouble locating to walk the first 2 batters he's faced.
Now it's time for the Whitecaps cleanup hitter Michael Curry to take his hacks. The infield has come in for the Firebirds, and the first pitch is up high at eye level on a fastball, and the count is 1-0. Looking like field manager Kelly Nicholson and the Firebirds want to keep this Brewster Whitecaps lead at 4-0, although it looks like the middle infielders are now stepping back as they're going to see if they can get possibly a double play. The pitch is swung, hit hard, foul down the left field line. That was a hot shot, but was staying foul the entire way. Count is 1-1 to Michael Curry. Curry's day so far, he grounded out in the second inning to second base. He walked in the third and then flew out to center field in the fifth. A fly out to center, very common here at Eldridge Park. 434 out to straightaway center field here. A lot of ground to cover for Newbar, who's out there in center field right now. 1-1 the count. It runs in on him. The count is 2-1. As Cropper's really starting to struggle with his command so far. One of those temp players that is on the Firebirds roster. Wong, a temp player, preceded him, or Hinson preceded him, another temp player. 2-1 is the count on the righty swinging Michael Curry. The pitch. That is, they're going to rule that a foul ball. They're going to say it hit him on the wrist, and Curry will advance to first base. That one was right over by the hand, the wrist, the wood bat area, and the bases are now loaded without a hit for the Whitecaps. A walk, a stolen base, another walk, a hit by a pitch, and it's ducks on the pond for Brewster, and now it's Cesar Trejo's turn. And we have a conference on the mound here as they're checking in on Kanan Cropper, who so far has just been unable to command his pitches here on this increasingly cooler night in Orleans. Whitecaps are ahead 4-0. Plated a couple of runs on an RBI single by Graffinino, and then a hit by Connor Smith. That a little dribble to the left side. Kevin Smith was in the game pitching at that time. He ran in to grab it, turned to see if he could get a force at third, and then wound up with a wild throw. And the run came around to score. And the remaining 2 Whitecaps runs came on a Mickey Gasper 2-run shot. No doubt about it, home run to left field in the 5th inning to make it 4-0 Brewster. So it is now Cesar Trejo's turn. Trejo is 0 for 3 so far tonight. A ground out to short, a fielder's choice, and his last time up he struck out. That was in the 6th inning. Bases loaded with nobody out. The infield is still in. The pitch is high, and the count 1-0. The corner's really in, even below the baseline for Orleans. As Austin at third and Passatempo at first base are crouching almost toward the infield grass. Middle infielders are out slightly more, but definitely an infield. 1-0 pitch is fouled back as it whacks against the screen. And the count is 1-1 on Trejo. Trejo hailing from UNC Greensboro. A few North Carolina products in this game on both sides. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Swung and fouled back, and that one thumps against the backstop right behind home plate. Just got a piece of that one to Cesar Trejo as that fastball was run up above the letters there. He chased at it. The count is 1-2. One of those pitches where you have the timing right, but you got fooled by the fastball, and you can see that when the ball goes just straight back like it did there. Bases loaded with no one out. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. It bounces in front of the catcher Johnson. Nice job by him to block that one with his chest protector on a breaking ball that bounced maybe a foot in front of the plate. And the count is 2-2.
Just a really nice job by Johnson there. You know, you see a lot of catchers try and reach for it and try and, scoop it on a backhand. They're doing a good job moving the rest of his body, getting in front of it and blocking it with his chest protector.
So it's 2-2. A bit of a battle brewing here with the bases loaded for Cesar Trejo, as Kanan Cropper's trying to keep this ball game from getting out of reach here in the 8th inning. Whitecaps ahead 4-0. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. He got him. Ran that fastball up, and that's a big strikeout for Kanan Cropper. He retires the first batter that's the first batter he has retired since he entered the game to begin this 8th inning. Trejo is down on strikes, and now it's Chandler Taylor's turn.
Yeah, big strikeout there, to say the least. I mean, Bases loaded, no outs. Trejo chases a high fastball, really gifts one there to Cropper. Trejo just chased the fastball up in the zone, probably out of the zone, and now it's up to Chandler Taylor with one out.
And this has to be a scary prospect for Firebirds fans, a guy with home run power. The first pitch to him is in there for a strike at the knees. The count is 0-1. Taylor, as we mentioned earlier, 16 home runs for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And if you think that he was feasting on midweek pitching, 10 of those came against SEC foes. So high-level pitching in that conference, and he was able to take those pitchers deep. 0-1 pitch, bounces again in front of Johnson, and again, he keeps it in front of him nicely as that one settled in right in the batter's box of a lefty swinging Chandler Taylor. So no advance, the bases remain loaded with now one out. Whitecaps ahead 4-0 here in the 8th inning, trying to put this game out of reach. On deck is Justin Coons, the Whitecaps catcher, as he starts taking his swings in front of us. 1-1 the count. The pitch from Cropper is Swan, a soft chopper, a dribbler to the left side, fielded there at third, over to second for one, over to first. They won't make the throw, and a run will score. A nice little dribbler there that got caught up in that thick infield grass, and the Whitecaps lead is now 5-0 on a fielder's choice from Chandler Taylor, and it'll be first and third and 2 outs for Kuntz.
Well, just not hit quite hard enough for the double play there. Orleans tried to spin it, but again, Taylor with decent speed running down the first, again, not hit very hard. And the second baseman, Grand Prix, didn't quite have enough time. Made the right decision, too, not trying to throw it over to first. You try and rush it. Oftentimes you see throws like that get away from the first baseman or be errant and cause even further damage. Made the right decision by eating it.
Yeah, give it a little whip with his arm, maybe out of frustration knowing he didn't have enough time, but kept the baseball in his bare hand. So it's now Justin Coons. At third base is Mickey Gasper. At first base, Chandler Taylor. 1 run in for the Whitecaps in the 8th inning. They lead 5-0. The pitch is fouled back to the screen to start off the at-bat for Coons. And one thing that I think Cropper's been able to get here that he didn't get at the beginning of his outing is swings and misses. We've seen a few of them, both on the fastball running up and there. I know it wasn't a swing and miss, but it was a pretty weak foul ball on a breaking ball that was tailing down to Coons. Coons on the day today is 1 for 3. He doubled and scored a run in that 2-run third inning for Brewster. 0-1 the count. First and third with 2 outs. The pitch is low. The count is 1-1. You have to feel, if you're sitting in Kelly Nicholson's chair, you have to feel good if you're only giving up 1 run in this frame from Kanan Cropper. He didn't have his command ready, walked the first 2 hitters he faced, and then hit the third one to load the bases with nobody out. Waiting on the 1-1 to the righty. It's up high, up at chin level there. And the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Brewster ahead 5-0. We are in the top of the 8th inning on a night that's gotten cooler in this gorgeous ballpark here on Cape Cod opening day. And so far for Brewster, it's been a great night. They've gotten timely hitting, a blast from Mickey Gasper, and the pitching has been able to put up zeros. 2-1 pitch. That's a fastball just missing the inside corner on the upper part of the zone. So ahead in the count now, 3-1 is Justin Coons. A lot of catchers on this Brewster roster. I think that's one of the more intriguing challenges that Jamie Shevchik has for this team is who he's going to play behind the plate. Coons out of Gardner-Webb. 3-1 pitch, runners going for second, and it's grounded foul left side. Count is now full, as that was Taylor who was making a run for it over at first base. The slugger trying to grab an extra one, trying to catch Cropper sleeping. Coons, like many players on the Cape, a freshman All-American in the year 2016. And of those 3 catchers by trade in those Brewster Whitecaps lineup tonight, he's the one behind the plate. He's capable defensively. This past year at Gardner-Webb for the Runnin' Bulldogs, did not make an error behind the plate all year. First and third and 2 out. The Whitecaps looking to add to a 5-0 lead here in the top of the 8th. Runner goes again. The pitch is Swan, and it gets away. It's ball 4, charging for home, and getting there safely is Mickey Gasper. Nice heads-up play. They go down to third base now, and getting in at third base safely is wow, look at this. Getting there in there it was Taylor. So Taylor ran to second. The ball was thrown back. It got to the backstop. Gasper scored, and while everybody was kind of milling about, Taylor decided to take advantage and scamper over to third base. So one of the more eventful walks I think you will ever see, and it's 6-0 Brewster.
Talk about heads-up base running there by Chandler Taylor, understanding that really the play was looking towards first base. They weren't paying much attention to third. They were trying to see if they had a chance at getting Coons at first, and Taylor, recognizing that, able to take the extra base.
And it's grounded softly first base side. It will trickle foul off the bat of Devin Foyle, who stands in now for Brewster. And again, I mentioned it earlier in the game about that's the sort of thing that the scouts watch for, the hustle plays. We've seen a bunch of that from a few different Whitecaps tonight, but Taylor staying on it. And for the folks who are back there, Johnson just had a terrific game defensively behind the plate. The pitcher, Cropper, who was going into cover, they need to keep an eye on the runner there. I mean, he was in full stride. He was going with the count full and 2 out. 0-1 now the count on Devin Foyle after that dribbler foul. First and third, 2 outs. The pitch is low. Johnson's really had a workout this inning. Had to get out of his crouch there after he gloved that one just on top of the dirt. Counts even now, 1 ball, 1 strike. Foyle singled and scored in the third. Hit a hard line drive to left field and was retired in the 4th inning, and hit a looper over to third in the 7th. So he is 1-4-3. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's swung and grounded foul wide of first base. And trickling over toward the fans in the first row. Count is 1-2 on Foyle. Foyle hailing from the University of Kansas, switch-hitting outfielder. One of the few Brewster Whitecaps that started the day in the righty batter's box, and now have moved over to the left side. Hit .250 in 58 games this year with Kansas. 1-2 pitch bounces in front of the catcher Johnson. He blocks it again with that chest protector. And we'll toss it back over to Kanan Cropper.
Cropper's not making Johnson's job any easier down there behind the plate, throwing several pitches in the dirt. Obviously the one that got away from him and allowed Gasper to come in and score. Really lacking control here in his Cape League debut.
It is 6-0 Brewster. 2 runs are in this inning. One on a fielder's choice and one on an odd walk. The pitch is swung in high in the air down the left field line, tailing toward foul ground, and running out of room is the left fielder Stroshine. So we'll do it again. The count is 2-2. A lot of the Brewster Whitecaps, in terms of defense, Johnson has had a great day behind the plate catching. But I'm sure Kelly Nicholson isn't too happy with the way the Firebirds have played defensively tonight. Even though the errors aren't necessarily lighting up, just the one for them. 2-2 pitch is inside. The count is 3-2 with runners on first and third. This is the same situation that Cropper was in when he threw that wild pitch on ball 4 that allowed Brewster's 6th run to come across. 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 5th, and now 2 in the 8th for the Whitecaps. 6-0. Payoff pitch on the way. Runner goes. Pitches it high in the air to center field. Nootbaar heads in a couple of steps, gets under it, and makes the play to end the 8th inning. Bit of a curious inning for Brewster. They get 2 runs on no hits, and they leave 2. I had to take a long look at that one, but no hits, and they leave 2 runners on base. We are finished with 7.5 innings of play here in Orleans. The Whitecaps lead 6-0. Don't go away. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. 7, 8, and 9 due up in the bottom of the 8th inning for Orleans. Carter Waddiel and Aiden Doyle along with Mara Sheridan and Koki Riley here with you from Eldridge Park in Orleans, Massachusetts. The score is 6-0 in favor of the Brewster Whitecaps, who have gotten their runs via a 2-run shot from Mickey Gasper and a bunch of curious plays. A very strange ending there in the top of the 8th. They scored a couple of runs, but they didn't get a hit. One of them scored in a wild pitch on ball 4. Anyway, there's a new pitcher to tell you about for Brewster. It's Zach Lingenfelter. He's a Tennessee Volunteer. The 6'5", 225-pound righty, a rising sophomore out of Sevierville, Tennessee. This season, 22 appearances, in 6 starts for the Vols. Gave up 48 hits in 56 and a third innings. Walked 25, but struck out 61. A 3.67 ERA during that time. It will be Preston Grand Prix due up to start things in the bottom of the 8th inning for Orleans. He'll be followed by Cooper Johnson and Jeff Hopeby, the bottom third of this Firebirds order. The pitch is in there for a strike on the fastball. And the count is 0-1 on Grand Prix. Grand Prix does not have a hit to his name. He's 0 for 2, but did have a nice defensive play earlier in this game. That was in the 7th. The pitch is in there for a strike on another fastball. That one on the inside corner. Lingenfelter looking pretty loose on the mound during his first couple of pitches here. And the count is 0-2 on Grand Prix. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. And that's in there, strike 3. Fastball, fastball, fastball. And he gets Grand Prix looking. That's an ideal start for Lingenfelter.
I say, you really can't ask for anything better. And think about the shoes he's trying to fill right now. Taking over for Robert Broom and Connor Higgins, who combined to go 7 innings, giving up just 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 10 strikeouts. And Lingenfelter off to a pretty good start himself.
Yeah, Higgins retired all 6 batters he faced, and Broom, retired all 6 batters he faced, and he struck out 4 of them. But I got to say, Lingenfelter is coming out and looking just as good. Here is Cooper Johnson. Johnson at the plate is 1 for 2, but his impact has been felt behind the plate at catcher, especially in that 8th inning. The first pitch to the right-handed hitter is high. Johnson has been blocking a bunch of balls. That one miscue that he'll probably be thinking about at the end of this game when it's over, as the Whitecaps lead 6-0 here. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. First, it's low. Was that play in that 8th inning? It was a ball 4 that got back to the backstop, and while nobody was looking, runner wound up scampering over to third. Run scored on the wild pitch. That would have happened anyway. 2-0 the count. And the pitch to Johnson is low. So 3-0. I think we're starting to see a little bit of what Lingenfelter was like at Tennessee. You mentioned those eye-popping numbers, 25 walks and 61 Ks. He's got the stuff for sure. Here comes the 3-0. That is in there for a strike at the knees. Looked like Johnson was just going to wait for that one. And the count is 3-1 on the catcher from Ole Miss. One of a lot of SEC guys here on McCabe. Such a rich baseball conference. 3-1 pitch is grounded foul. That one looked like it knocked off of Johnson's rear end and scooted behind the home plate dirt. Count is 3-2 as Johnson has worked the count full.
Stands emptying out here at Eldridge Park down the first base line. Most of the hill vacant at this point.
Start change from earlier today. Folks out at 7:30 to put their chairs and blankets down, but it's now 6-0 Brewster in the 8th inning. Pitch is fouled back over the screen. And the benefit is when a ball like that goes over there and onto the hill, you want the foul ball, less people to get it. Less competition out there.
That's very true, and I don't necessarily blame them for leaving. I mean, I'm just sitting here. Granted, I'm dumb and wore shorts tonight. You're smart, you wore pants. But these mosquitoes and bugs are just really getting to me at this point.
3-2 pitch is low, ball 4 on a fastball that did not get to the target he was looking for, and Cooper Johnson works a walk. First base runner allowed in this short so far outing for Lingenfelter. And that'll bring up the 9-hitter Hopeby with a runner on first base and 1 out. Hopeby so far tonight, a strikeout in the 2nd, and he flew out to center field in the 5th. He's sitting from the left side against the right-handed pitcher. The pitch from Lingenfelter is in there for a strike on the fastball. Now that one painted the inside corner, hit the target. Count is 0-1 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Hope be part of a University of San Diego team that is one of those teams that makes a point to schedule tough in non-conference play. As we await the 0-1, the pitch is high, check swing, but held up well in time was Hopi. They faced 3 different teams that hosted regionals in their non-conference schedule. And for a guy that's coming onto the Cape from a non-power conference school, that has to be helpful, even if it was all the way back at the beginning of the year. Here's the 1-1. It's foul back to the screen. Looked like he timed that one well, did Hopi, on a fastball that was up out of the zone. But chased that pitch a little bit, so he's now going to have to protect the plate, trailing 1-2 in the count.
Yeah, a lot of those guys who he sees in those big non-conference games, he's going to see here on the Cape. And so, unlike a lot of other guys who come from smaller schools trying to find his footing here in the Cape League, he's already got a head start having seen these guys before.
1-2 pitch, that hit him on the knee, and advancing to first base is Hopi. So it's been interesting, kind of feast or famine so far from Lingenfelter. He's had fastballs that have painted the quarter and pitches that have just gotten away like that one, which looked like an off-speed pitch. So a walk and a hit by pitch means it's first and second with 1 out for the top of the Firebird order here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Here's the breaking ball, tried to get it on the inside part of the plate, missed too far inside, drilled Hopi right on the knee. He's going to feel that one in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one where you take a little bit of extra time heading over to first base. Don't want to show anything, but maybe your stats isn't quite as jaunty as it would typically be. Newpar's going to try again. He's 0 for 3 so far. A fly out, a ground ball, another fly out in the 6th inning. His last time up. That one is fouled back right over our heads behind home plate. And the count is 0-1 on Newpar. Newpar's family name, I think you were talking about it earlier, has some significance in North Carolina. The offices for North Carolina's baseball team are named after his great-grandfather. Has a lot of familial connections to the school that he will call his alma mater, UNC. He hits this one hard right to the third baseman. It pops out of the glove of Smith, but he recovers and decides to just step on the third base bag. A nice play there, not throwing it to first, hesitates and decides to get the lead runner. And there is 2 away, excuse me. That's the second out. So it'll remain first and second.
That was a screaming line drive about 4 inches off the ground. Almost caught it just on the fly, but instead it hit the dirt. And Smith with a smart play just to step on third. A lot of guys, like you mentioned, you'd see try and throw that to first or maybe even try and spin a double play there. But some heads-up baseball by Connor Smith at third base, steps on third. And now there's first and second with 2 away.
And he took his time with that, which I thought was interesting. He popped out of the glove, and he had the awareness to know, okay, I've got a second to think about this, and decided, let's just get the lead runner. Let's trot over to third because now there's 2 gone. With 2 out, though it does mean the 2-hitter is up Roman Gonzalez, although his night has not been what he hoped for his Cape Cod League debut. 3 at-bats, 3 Ks. The pitch to Gonzalez is outside, as a nice job to glove that behind the plate by Coons, the catcher. He just stuck out his mitt and grabbed it. The score is 6-0 Brewster. We are in the bottom of the 8th inning, first and second for the Firebirds on opening night. Looking to break the shutout. It's been some great pitching so far from the Brewster Whitecaps tonight. 1-0 pitch, swing and a miss on a high fastball. Ran that one up there. And Gonzalez tried in vain to go after it. Gonzalez just hasn't quite been seeing the ball right tonight. Lingenfelter holding the set, holding his glove up high near his face. The 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed. Another fastball. Looked like he just kind of waved at that one.
Say, Gonzalez almost looks defeated up there at the plate. Just, swings through that one, kind of just hangs his head almost. Like, come on, like that's a pitch I got to hit. That's a pitch that's in the zone. Just not quite catching up to the fastball there from Lingenfelter.
1-2 is the count. First and second, 2 men out. The pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. It's a golden sombrero for Romy Gonzalez. 4 at-bats and 4 strikeouts, and the Whitecaps get out of the 8th inning. No runs, no hits, and 2 left on for Orleans in the bottom of the 8th. We were going to the final frame here in Orleans. 6-0 Whitecaps. You are listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to Eldridge Park in Orleans. It's 9 minutes after 9 here on the East Coast. Thank you so much for tuning in on our first broadcast of the year. Carter Woodeel, Aiden Doyle, Mara Sheridan, Koki Riley here with you on a gorgeous evening for some baseball. New pitcher to tell you about for the Orleans Firebirds as the night is over for Kanan Cropper. He is relieved by the right-hander Ryan Orr out of Kalamazoo College. Orr is a rising senior out of DeWitt, Michigan, Bath High School. This past season for Kalamazoo, 15 games, 11 starts, to the tune of a 3.05 ERA, gave up 67 hits in 73 and 2/3 innings pitched, walked 11, and struck out 76. So against Division II competition, to be fair, but certainly some sparkling numbers, especially with regard to strikeouts. The first pitch is swung and hit hard into center field, and it's getting down for a base hit off the bat of the 9-hitter Graffinino. Graffinino will take a wide turn at first base, but head back with a satisfying clap of his hands, his second hit of the night. And the Brewster Whitecaps have the leadoff runner on here in the ninth inning, leading 6-0.
Just a good piece of hitting there by A.J. Graffinino. Fastball on the outer half of the plate. Didn't try and pull it, didn't try and do too much with it. Just went right with it and shot it into left center field. That was a rocket, too. It wasn't one of these cheap base hits. He really got the most of that one.
Yeah, I like the way you described that. Didn't try to do too much with that baseball. It's the top of the order now for the Whitecaps, but it won't be Connor Smith. It's a pinch hitter for Brewster, as it'll be Christian Molfetta to come in. Right-handed hitter. Runner is on first base, nobody out. Here in the top of inning number 9, the Whitecaps ahead 6-0. The first pitch is in there for a strike from Molfetta. Molfetta hailing from Stanford, one of the last Whitecaps to get in last night. Showed up to the team dinner. Everybody was in their uniforms, but his flight was so late that he had to come in a pullover shirt. Had to be assured there was a uniform for him. He's got one on now. Runner goes for second, pitch is swung on and missed. The throw down to second base is high, and it heads into center field. No advance from the runner at second. Graffinino didn't see the ball go into center field, and it should be a stolen base anyway, as he had a great jump on that play. So it'll be a runner in scoring position now with the count 0-2 on Molfetta.
You nailed it with a great jump. I think even with an accurate throw there, Graffinino probably would have been safe at second. Really just got a good jump off of Orr, slid into center field, and because it didn't even deflect off of anything and just went straight into center field, I think it was a good decision by Graffinino to stay put at second base.
Here comes the 0-2 to Molfetta, and it's outside. Count is 1-2. Molfetta is a rising junior out of Laguna Beach, California. Did not have a start for Stanford in his past year, but coming in as a pinch hitter in this game. 1-2 the count. On deck for the Whitecaps is Troy Dixon. He came in as a pinch hitter in the previous inning, the 8th. The pitch is low, below the knees, so that brings the count even now. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Molfetta. The Whitecaps got 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 5th on a 2-run home run from Gasper, and 2 in the 8th. That's their scoring. The runner on second base is Graffinino, who reached by the second Whitecaps stolen base of this game. Has a pretty aggressive lead out there. 2-2 pitch is in there, called. Strike 3 on the fastball. So Molfetta's Cape League debut is a called strike 3. First strikeout for Ryan Orr. And there is one away here in the top of the ninth.
Just a great pitch there by Orr. Really painted the outside block with that fastball. Molfetta had done a good job laying off one low prior in the at-bat, but that one perfectly right. If you had K-zone right in front of us, that would have been right on the line. Great pitch from Orr.
So here is Troy Dixon taking his hacks for the second time. He takes a fastball right down Broadway for strike number 1. Count is 0-1 on the infielder out of Stanford University. Dixon had a pretty eventful trip around the bases in his first time. He drew a walk, then stole second, and wound up coming around to score on a wild pitch. That was the 5th run of the game for Brewster. The pitch is swung and fouled right back to the screen towards us. Now you've got your glove in your hand, and I admire that considering we're behind netting.
You know something? Last summer I did the play-by-play for the Catuit Kettleers here in the Cape League, and all I wanted all summer was to catch a foul ball. At any ballpark, any game, I didn't care, and I never
0-2 pitch, just missed with that one. It was an off-speed pitch, and it looked like the home plate ump took a while to make the call, but it just is outside. Counted as 1-2 on Troy Dixon.
So I never got to catch one, and so I've made a vow this year, not only to bring my glove to every game, even the home games when we're in the press box, but I also have been taking bets with my broadcast partners from last year as to which park I'm going to catch it at.
Stepping off the mound to check on the runner is the hurler Ryan Orr. Well, it is a quest that seems difficult to me from our position here with the netting directly between us and the ball game. But anyway, 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. He got him. Ryan Orr with back-to-back Ks. That one swung on a slider there from Dixon, who walks back to the dugout. So 2 Ks in the first 3 hitters for Orr, but he'll still have to deal with the 3-hitter for Brewster, Mickey Gasper, who has the biggest hit of the night, a 2-run home run in the 5th inning.
Not every park has this netting right in front of us, though, so as we move throughout the season, we'll have some better opportunities. You laugh, but I'm telling you, there will be better opportunities than tonight to catch a foul ball.
I do laugh.
And I will be prepared when that opportunity presents itself.
The first pitch to Gasper is high. It's 6-0 Whitecaps here in Orleans. Ryan Orr so far, he gave up a leadoff single to Graffinino right away at the start of his outing. But since that has settled in, he's the 5th pitcher of the game for the Firebirds. And the pitch is swung and sounded softly to Orr. He kicks off the heel of his glove. He scampers over to grab it, and he can't come up with the baseball. And Pete Schuler, the pinch hitter, advances on, well, we'll see how they scored that. Will it be the second error of the game for Orleans? We'll see exactly how that goes. That looked like that was a playable ball for the pitcher Orr. It kicked off the heel of his glove, rolled behind the mound, and then he had to come in and grab it to make the throw with his bare hand and couldn't come up with that there. We'll see how they score that. But regardless of what our scorer says, it's 1st and 3rd for Brewster with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning, with the Whitecaps ahead 6-0. That we cannot debate.
It's undisputed.
Here comes Michael Curry. He fouls the pitch back over the screen behind home plate. So Jamie Shevchik getting his guys in early in this game. 3 pinch hitters for the top 3 spots in the Whitecaps order coming in the 8th and 9th innings for Brewster. It's Schuler on first base. On third base is Graffinino, the shortstop. 2 outs. The pitch, that's an off-speed pitch, and it just misses. Looked like some voices from the Orleans dugout thought that was a good pitch. Count is 1-1. It just was off the outside corner in the judgment of our ump. 1st and 3rd for the Whitecaps with 2 away. Looking to add to a 6-0 lead in the 9th inning. That one's hit hard to right field. Coming on and making the play is Riley out in right field. That one was tattooed, but Riley was right there to grab it, and that retires the side in the 9th. For the Whitecaps in the 9th inning, no runs on 2 hits. They did score about a hit for Schuler, and they leave 2 on base. We are through 8.5. Final 3 outs for the Firebirds as they trail 6-0. Don't go away. This is Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Orleans tasked with getting 6 runs in 3 outs as the Firebirds trail 6-0 here as we get ready to begin the bottom of the 9th inning on what has become a crisp, cool evening here in Orleans. Carter Waddell, Aiden Doyle, Morris Sheridan, Koki Riley here with you from Orleans in the first game of the Brewster Whitecaps season. We thank you so much for joining us tonight here on our YouTube stream. New pitcher is in the game for the Whitecaps as Andy Pagnazzi will try and get the final 3 outs. Hailing from Roanoke, Texas, he's a pitcher for Ole Miss, the righty. This season has 13 appearances, 16 1/3 innings pitched this past year for Ole Miss to the tune of a 3.31 ERA. And the first pitch is up high to the Firebird right fielder Brandon Riley, who made the catch that ended the top of the 9th inning for Brewster on a hard hit liner by Michael Curry. That stopped a Whitecap threat. 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike, and the count is 1-1. Pagnazzi was a draft pick 2015 by the Colorado Rockies, another Louisville Slugger freshman All-American. There are plenty of those out here on the Cape this summer. 1-1 on the way from the righty. It's hit hard through the middle. It's going to get into center field for a base hit. Nice piece of hitting there from Riley. Reached out and got that one. Took a wide turn at first base, but headed back as the center fielder Foyle was able to collect that ball. So the leadoff runner is on here in the bottom of the 9th for Orleans.
Very reminiscent of the A.J. Graffinino single. Outside fastball, just went right with it, shoots it at the left center field. Beautiful piece of hitting there by the right fielder Riley.
And now it's Kevin Stroshine's turn as he'll look to keep the line moving. You never know. 6-0 is the score in favor of the Whitecaps here in the bottom of the 9th inning in Orleans. Stroshine, the outfielder from Tennessee Tech. The first pitch to him is swung, hit hard on the ground to first base, and it's through the legs of the first baseman, Gasper, and into right field down the line. And heading up and heading to second, the throw is just a bit offline. Getting into second base safely there was Stroshine, so it's second and third for the Firebirds here with nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th inning, as that one got right through Schuler's legs. That looked like a pretty routine play. A hard hit ball to be sure, but a play that he could have made out there. And again, we'll wait on the scoring, but it is second and third for Passatempo.
Yeah, that's a play that Schuler has to make at first base. He actually did a pretty good job of getting down to it. It looked from this angle, it's like, okay, he's not trying to reach for it or just kind of, play it off to the side. He did a pretty good job. He just must have left, basically the entire diameter of a baseball. Like, that's it between the glove and the ground.
So it is second and third, no one out for Passatempo. The pitch is up high. And that error, it's tough because it's almost compounded. The very thing that made it hard to field, the fact that it was a laser, made the error so costly because it allowed the ball to skip all the way out into the right field corner. Count is 1-0 on the righty Passatempo, who's 0 for 3 tonight. The pitch is swung and hit high but foul behind the plate. Gets into over the press box out there. Evens the count, 1 ball, 1 strike on Passatempo. Stroshine is at second. Riley is at third for Orleans. Trailing 6-0 in the bottom of the 9th inning are the Firebirds. Righty to righty. Holding the set is Pagnazzi, and he deals. It's a breaking ball in there for a strike. Just dropped that one in there on the inside corner, and the count is 1-2. That's a pretty gutsy pitch in this situation. I understand that the Whitecaps are dealing with a big lead, but just dropping a breaking ball in to Passatempo, who has some power to him, some pop to his bat. That takes some mental fortitude. 1-2 on the way. It's another breaking ball, and that one is in there for strike 3. Another called strike 3 from a Whitecap hurler. And Passatempo is down on strikes for the second time tonight.
That's a beautiful breaking ball by Pagnazzi, the right-handed pitcher out of Ole Miss. Just really, when you look at that, starts up by the letters, right by the shoulders, and breaks down towards the belt on the inner half of the zone. Beautiful breaking ball, really tough to hit.
They did score that play in E3, the one that allowed Stroshine to reach. The error charged to Schuler at first base. The first pitch is hit hard on the ground through the right side, off the bat of Austin into right field for a base hit. 1 run will score. Holding up at third base is Stroshine. No need to test it in the 9th inning while trailing big, but it is the first run of the game for the Firebirds. It's now 6-1 Brewster.
Well, that's another great piece of hitting there by Cole Austin. Once again, outside fastball from Pagnosi. Shoots it right between first and second, going the other way with it into right field. And it was hit so hard that with Taylor charging, he didn't even have a chance to score Stroshine from second base because it got to Taylor so quickly that, frankly, he would have been done at the plate.
So now here's Preston Grand Prix. First and third, 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 9th inning, it's now 6-1 in favor of the Whitecaps. The pitch is a fastball up high, and the count is 1-1 on Grand Prix. Grand Prix is 0-for-3 today. A ground ball to first base in the second, one to short in the 5th, and then struck out swinging in the 8th inning. That was against Lingenfelter. 1-0 pitch is hit high in the air out to shallow center field. Coming in is Foyle. He calls everybody off, and he will make the play almost toward the infield grass out there in center field. He called that one from the very beginning a high pop fly, and that's the second out of the bottom of the 9th. And now Cooper Johnson will be the last man for the Firebirds. 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Whitecaps are ahead 6-1 in this game, looking to move to 1-0 on the season. Now, it always feels good to win a baseball game, but getting the win in that first game of the year has to feel pretty good, has to be right up there. Orleans close to slamming that door, but still first and third for the Whitecaps, or for the Firebirds, excuse me. And the pitch to Johnson is in there for a strike. Another off-speed pitch that was dropped in there from Pagnazzi. Been very crafty in his pitching style. Pagnazzi's got MLB genes. His father, Tom, played for 12 years as a catcher with the Cardinals. Of course, the home team here used to go by that name. 0-1 pitch is swung on and missed on a breaking ball in the dirt, and the count is 0-2 on Cooper Johnson. This has been a terrific night for Whitecap pitching. Strikeouts have abounded, 13 of them to be exact so far in this game for Brewster Whitecaps hurlers, including 6 in the first 5 innings from Connor Higgins. Here's the 0-2 pitch. It's swung hit hard on the ground, right side. Running over to field it at second base is Dixon. He throws to first base in time, and that is your ball game. The Whitecaps start the season off with a win. They defeat the Orleans Firebirds on the road here by a final score of 6-1. And as I mentioned, Aiden, every win is important. Every win has to feel good, but getting a win in the first game of the year, that's got to be pretty sweet for the Whitecaps.
I have a lot of friends who aren't exactly huge baseball fans who say, oh, the first game of the season is meaningless. They got so many more to play. It's really not, because it's about setting the tone for the rest of the season. If you get off to a bad start in the first game of the season, it can turn into a bad week, and a bad week can turn into a bad month. And in a season as short as this, you don't have time for a bad week or a bad month by any means. So getting a win, especially a 6-1 victory for the Whitecaps, huge on opening day. A great win over the Orleans Firebirds.
The totals in the 9th inning for the Firebirds in that 9th: 1 run scored, 1 hit, 1 error, and they left 2 runners on base in the 9th inning. That is the final total in the 9th for the Orleans Firebirds. The Whitecaps get the victory by a final score of 6-1. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to Eldridge Park in Orleans, where the Whitecaps are winners tonight by a final score of 6-1. Just the one run allowed in that ninth inning for Brewster. The only blemish on a terrific day for Brewster Whitecaps pitching. The totals for you: the Whitecaps get 6 runs off of 6 hits with 1 error. They leave 7 men on base. For the Orleans Firebirds, it's just the 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error, and they leave 7 on base. The winning pitcher was Connor Higgins, who was terrific in his 5 innings of work for Brewster. Just a couple hits allowed, only 1 walk, and struck out 6. He retired the final 10 men that he faced at the end of his outing. Kevin Smith takes the loss for Orleans. Higgins, of course, is 1-0, and Smith is 0-1 on this first day of the season. The time of the game, 2 hours and 26 minutes here on perfect weather conditions here for this Brewster Whitecaps baseball game. We are going to send it down to the third member of our crew, Mara Sheridan, who is with the star of the game. Mara?
And Orleans.
Found it in the bullpen a little bit working with Coach. We did a simulated first inning out in the bullpen, so it was a bit more comfortable just going out there knowing that I already had the first inning covered.
What did you see from the 3 guys back that you liked?
Oh, they were just throwing strikes. And you throw strikes in this league, you're going to get out, so they did a great job.
Have that down, and how do you feel about how this team is gelling so far?
Felt good because I closed all year at school, so it was my first start in a while. But yeah, it was a great team win. Everybody was energetic tonight. It's a good start to get this team rolling.
All right, thank you so much. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
That was Mara Sheridan with Connor Higgins, who is the winning pitcher tonight for the Brewster Whitecaps. The Whitecaps moving to 1-0 on the season, a big win in the first game of the year for the Brewster Whitecaps. As Higgins stepping out of his traditional role as a closer to come in and deliver a terrific game, a game that I think is going to be a good start for Brewster. I mean, this team, listen, there aren't a ton of returners. It's the Cape League. There's a lot of roster turnover, but at least for the fans and the coach, for a season for the Whitecaps that was such a disappointment in terms of the win-loss record, changing the way that they recruited players, getting a win here and a convincing win in Game 1. It has to feel a little validating of the choices that they've made.
Yeah, and especially Connor Higgins. I mean, primarily a reliever at Arizona State. This is a team that is, their entire pitching staff is basically relievers. So for him to give them 5 innings in the first start of the season, a shutout ball, you couldn't have asked for anything more.
All right, let's send it back over to Mara. She is with the winning coach. Mara?
Guys, I'm here with Coach. Overall, a solid effort offensively and defensively. Well, we'll start with defense. What did you see from Higgins and then in relief that really impressed you tonight?
I think our pitching impressed me all the way through. Connor's going to be really good, and he's going to give some teams some fits. And then I think being able to run Broom out, Robert Broom, he's going to be a guy. I'm going to make a prediction right now. That kid's going to pitch in the All-Star game. He's going to be really good. He's a kid that can throw every day. At school, he had, I think, more than 40 appearances, and he wants to pitch every day. So we're going to limit his action as much as we can. But there's a kid that I'm going to make the prediction he will pitch in the All-Star game. He's going to do really well in this league. We just got a long bullpen, and a lot of guys that are still coming in. So for us to come out hot and get win number 1 today was exactly what we needed for our confidence.
Well, you heard the prediction here first, and then offensively, a lot of guys getting on base tonight. Gasper getting a 2-run homer. What allowed for that offensive success?
Guys were patient at the plate. We didn't have a whole lot of strikeouts today, and I don't think they just played loose. There wasn't any jitters of being the first time on the Cape. So, and that's the kind of where the atmosphere is in the dugout. Keep everybody loose throughout the game.
And it's a win on opening day. What's the importance of just starting out, setting the tone, and getting that win?
Well, it's always good to get win number 1, but we wanna play our best baseball. Obviously, when we get into mid to late July, and just consistency with our pitching, consistency with our ABs, play good defense, and I think this team's going to be fun to watch.
All right, thank you so much. Congrats on the win.
How's that for a bold prediction there from Coach Shevchik, going in and saying that Robert Broom is going to be in Wareham for the All-Star game? And I tell you what, Aiden, based on his performance tonight, faced 6 batters, he retired all 6, and he struck out 4 of them. He looked dominant. I think he's got a point, doesn't he?
Yeah, Broom looked absolutely fantastic tonight, showing off that trademark slider as well as, a fastball that showed more life than I think both of us expected to see tonight, especially on opening night. You're not really sure what to expect from these guys. a submarine pitcher like Robert Broom, you expect more movement, a little bit less velocity, and maybe not as many strikeouts, more based on deception. He blew hitters away, and that slider was just as good as advertised.
And for a guy coming out of a school, Mercer, that doesn't really go up against the top dogs of collegiate baseball as much as you might think, as much as some other players here on McCabe have gone against, he did not look phased by the moment. It's just like sort of what Coach Shevchik was saying about the offense. He didn't look nervous out there at all.
No, he looked, the composure, the poise, the just mound presence out here at Eldridge Park was really impressive by Broom, and really impressive by all the Whitecaps pitchers tonight, whether it be Connor Higgins, Zach Lingenfelter, Andrew Pagnosi. I know he gave up a run in the ninth, but it was unearned. I thought he showed good stuff, especially that breaking ball there in the ninth inning. A really impressive performance by a Whitecaps pitching staff that needs it. Last year, the pitching staff wasn't nearly as good as Coach Shevchik had hoped it would be. They struggled. They were carried almost entirely by their offense. So for this season to get off to this start, led not only by getting on base and a 2-run home run by Mickey Gasper, but also shut down pitching, giving up just 4 hits. That's about as good of an opening night as you could get if you're Coach Shevchik.
Not a single earned run, only 2 walks and 13 Ks by Whitecaps pitching tonight. Well, that'll just about do it for us. The Whitecaps take this win 6-1 for team president Chris Kenny and everybody in our crew, Aiden Doyle, Morris Sheridan, our third member of our crew, and Koki Riley giving us the updates tonight. I'm Carter Wadil. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow. The Whitecaps are heading to Hyannis to take on the Harbor Hawks. That game's going to start at 6 o'clock. We'll be there, and you can watch it right here. Tune in, listen to it right here on YouTube. Until then, so long from Orleans. The Whitecaps win it 6-1.